color Indians, baby. A real Indian, American Indian is me, not from Africa. Remember that.
African Americans here, but they recently moved here from places like Kenya, Ethiopia, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and Zaire. But now the brother whose family's lived in this country for generations, occupying space in all the locations, New York, Miami, LA, Detroit, Chicago, even if he's wearing a dashiki and sporting an afro. And if you go to Africa in search of your race, you'll find out quick you're not an African American. You're just a black American in Africa taking up space. Why you keep trying to attach yourself to a continent where even if you got the chance to go and you went, most people that wouldn't even claim you as one of them, as a purebred daughter or son of them. Your heritage is right here now, no matter what you call yourself or what you say. And a lot of people died to make it that way. There are some...
Long live Ag.
Yeah.
How you so?
These are my memoirs. Light up a cigar, smoke up the memories as I sit and dust them off. Why do people say it's just to piss you off? Ignore them, no call button and then dress too par. Now they can't test the guards, had to defy the odds. It only get tougher back then, we thought times was hard. Told them don't write me off, told them don't type at all. To all the ones that gave up, this a reply to y'all. That wavy haired kid that you knew, been on a tear since. The cries was lower than the laughter now that I'm hearing. The praise for staying committed to something they played with. It was always about us, it's never about who's your favorite. Took my insecurities and made my future more secure. The way we moving, it's like we really been here before. The proof is in the progress from the year before. Furthermore, we wanted to further things more. They took another route, so what you think we kings for? No angel ever said, yo, who these wings for? Ain't no champion ever said, who these rings for? So don't question what God doing, who you live for. Start accepting who you are and what you do it for. Doing less, doing more, it's really either or. Meet them halfway when one close, here go another door. Here go your dreams, what you running for? Head full of steam, cause you want it, huh? But it's in your genes, you was born a star.
Yeah, damn, we done came far. The blessings soon pay off. I don't get a day off. Feel like the playoffs, they like, when y'all gon' take off? Dill got laid off, now we focused on trademarks. We just making hits after hits, no aid off. Now they wanna eat off the same plate that I ate off. They really be brainwashed, I sold ain't for trade-offs. Listen to these verses, these are thoughts that I brainstorm. People do me wrong, but nowadays I just pray for them. I've been under pressure, you can't tell cause I stay calm. I need peace and quiet, all I hear is the rain falls. Now all I see is green like my name was Draymond. ISO the brand and you know we gon' rain on. Shout out to the fans from the jump that stayed on. Rolling every hour of the day till the pain gone. Now every time we drop, yeah, they know that is napalm.
Yeah. Conscious. Matic. Alright, so far where I come from.
I sit and wonder about the times that it made sense. But nowadays I don't worry about what's past tense. My younger days I used to hang around with mad friends. If we just fell out, I don't really know what happened. A lot of people come around and keep you stagnant, distraction. So yeah, don't show them no compassion. We was really out here grinding, really rapping. Stacking them Franklins, them Grants and them Jacksons. Imagine if we would've never chased our passion. We probably would've never knew what happened. They was all just talk, we showed action. Once they leave, don't you let them back in. Just pack up all their stuff and send them packing. I'm blacking on anybody thinking they could act up with me. This vibe ain't for free, cause where I'm at in life, I'm only focused on me. Note the self, know yourself, focus on your health. They don't wanna help, then fuck it, do it by yourself. Don't give them no excuse to put you on the shelf. If it's me, myself, and I, then it's no one else. Yeah. Self-love is the best love. It's the people always give that never get love. They ain't real enough to probably say they messed up. Just let it go and make the best of it. Yeah, self-love is the best love. It's the people who always give that never get love. They ain't real enough to probably say they messed up. Just let it go and make the best of it. Love yourself.
Yeah, practice what you preaching, but clearly they not practicing entitlement and pride. Yeah, those two things they factor in. Spiral out of control just from all the bantering. When they accustomed to talking behind your back with all that chattering, I remove myself before I abuse myself. Talk about self-love, but you gotta do it yourself. Yeah, I won't act too good for no help. We all healing now. Said some things about me that ain't true. How you feeling now? Even at my lowest, they tried to find a way to bring me down. Big y'all up for years, ain't talking just the brand or the sound. I don't throw things around, I do it from the heart proud. Mama just wanna see her sunshine, removing them dark clouds.
Yeah, self-love is the best love. It's the people who always give that never get love. They ain't real enough to probably say they messed up. Just let it go and make the best of it. Yeah, self-love is the best love. It's the people who always give that never get love. They ain't real enough to probably say they messed up. Just let it go and make the best of it. Love yourself.
Yes, self-love is the best love. Hey, y'all. D. Allen Warren, Enoch, Alika. What's up? Hey, L. John. How we fit a profile of being European? How you taking straight information and twisting it? Wow. Well, I got a right to ask, right? Look, bring the smoke. L. John, who you think you is? Look, what's been going on, Sister Betsy? How's life been treating you? Okay, how about you, George? What do you mean I do? What is Black Irish? They said they were swarthy, black swarts. Well, I got a right to ask these questions because it seemed like we fit the profile. That's right. I'm like, what if we were the Europeans that was kicked out of England? Because we seem to fit the profile lately. I'm asking these questions. You're supposed to ask, right? A1. You're supposed to ask questions, cross-reference. So I'm asking, what the fuck? What if we are the Europeans that was kicked out of England? I'm just saying. Hey, girly 72. I gotta ask because it's a question that needs to be asked, and the nerve of L. John to be saying why I'm flipping it. You got some nerve, but I'm just saying. American, a native of America, originally applied to the Aboriginals or copper-colored races found here by the Europeans, but now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. What if we the damn Europeans descendants that was born in America? What if we got kicked out of England? Because what they do, they kicked out of England because I'm just saying, the Europeans that got kicked out of England, they was black, from what y'all tell me. Okay. And when I look in our history, we got thieves. We got people that drink so much liquor because the Europeans love liquor. They kill. They steal. I mean, we got people who has been arrested for identity theft and fraud and shit, and deceiving their own people. Our hoods look like slums. We live like savages in our hoods. Look at our hoods compared to the suburbs. They got paper and garbage and gum wrappers and hypodermic needles and prostitution and drugs and all this horrible stuff in our communities. And I mean, we're looked at as being the worst of the worst over here. I'm just asking these questions. Is it possible that we can have the shit wrong and we, the Europeans that's born in America, could we been the ones that came over here and enslaved and brutally beat the Indians that was here, the Aboriginals, enslaved them, cutting heads off, taking their land? I mean, we seen fit the profile. We're fierce warriors. We beat people up. We invented everything in the damn world. And we went all around the world making cities and structures like over here, because we got all the knowledge, all the science and math come from us, from the root, and we the gods. And King James is black, so why would white people bring us a black guy's Bible when it probably was ours from the beginning? All this stuff. All our people in the church. We shout. All this stuff. Our last names we got was probably ours from the get-go because we was in England first and they kicked us out and we came here with these damn last names. And because all the white people that came here, they spoke different languages. They spoke French, German, Russian, Spanish, right? So we taught them our language, and these people, we gave them our last names because they was our slaves. So I'm just asking. I mean, I'm ready for the smoke because it's time to flip the script. What if we were the real original Europeans and we came here and beat up the Indians, chopped their heads off, made them slaves, gave them our last names because we ain't like their last names. And we couldn't stand to pronounce their names. Because I could tell. The reason why I'm saying that, because when I be seeing Negroes reading, they can't pronounce some of the words, like synonym. So I'm saying, could we be the people that came over here way back then? And we was the ones stinking on the Mayflower. And the poor little Indians nurtured us to health, taught us how to, hunt and stuff on their soil. I'm just saying, what if that was us? And we just got it twisted. We own all the land because we took it. All the lands got our ancestors' last names on it. So maybe if we identify as Europeans born in America and go back and claim our damn lands that we stole from the Indian or we bought from the Indians. What if we the ones that came over here as the indentured servants and slaves and promised the land, and they gave us the land, England, they gave us the land after we did our servitude, because that's how we got all the black farmers in the South and all over these damn states. Black farmers, we got our promise, and then we decided to make laws so we could establish a good fiat system. And when we established the laws, the black Europeans, us, that came over here, didn't pay our damn taxes. After we whooped the British ass, we start making laws and statutes and appointing presidents and the central government And then we applied real estate law, and we Negroes didn't pay our damn taxes. So they took our lands by public domain and because we ain't pay our taxes. I'm just asking these questions. I think it's fair. What if we got it all wrong? Who want the smoke? Because I'm just saying, what if we not Indian? What if we just came over here and mixed with them? And then, because we were so horrible, the gods sent marked white people and made them white so they could stand out amongst everybody because the whole planet looked like us all over the place. So maybe the gods created a white man because he stands out wherever he go because they don't look like us. And maybe they're the angels to come out that was sent here and all around the world because they're white and they're made different and gave them the power. The gods gave them the power and created them and made them the powerful ones because they stand out amongst everybody because they don't look like the majority of the people that's here in the whole world. So they was made different. So you'll know that they are the gods and the angels, the fierce fighting angels that's coming with troops and armies and colonize. Maybe that's what the gods did to civilize the whole planet Earth. Imperfect. Don't be telling me to put Willie Weed down because God could have made the white people because they white with wings and they do fly in airplanes and they land on your ass and they will take over your country. How did that happen? That's what I'm just saying. What if we are the black Europeans that was kicked out of England? Because England know we were some fucked up people. And now we came over here and got real crazy, brutally treating people bad and stuff. So they created a white man to put them in power, to make decent decisions and have legislations. What if that's the case? Bring me the smoke and tell me the proof. I'm putting the link in the chat early. What if we all been fooled again? And this is the whole truth. Because if you look all around the world, white people is ruling. I mean, they take out whole cities and countries. Last I heard seen somebody doing that was in a Bible when they destroyed the world. In Baghdad, they destroyed it. Tower of Babylon. How come the white people got weapons that can destroy whole cities within a blink of an eye? And they could go anywhere and win anywhere. We ain't got, where's our weapons of mass destruction? I'm just asking. I mean, we speak English. Why we speak English so good? I'm going to put the link in the chat early. Because I want you to tell me if you believe me or if I'm bugging and I ain't smoked none of Willie weed. I'm going to wait. I'm putting the link in early because I want to smoke early. I want to smoke early. If you think we ain't black Europeans, you come up here. If you think we are black Europeans, you come up here and bring the smoke. Because we could look at this from two perspectives now. I put the link in the chat. So I'm going to wait. I want the smoke. Bring it. I'm going to play some music until you bring the smoke. So bring the smoke.
Then they put you on trial. I was just a young child. Gave you 25 to life, all these years gone by. And you never asked why. All you did was pray to God, all you did was wait your time. Now you about to come home. And I'm about to have a child, it's gonna be worthwhile. It's gonna be worthwhile. Remember nights I cried, now we at the finish line. You was only 21 with a son on the run, no. You was living in the jungle. Got charged for a murder and some weed and a gun, no. You was moving like Rumbo. Did your time like a champ, never rumble. You was on the wrong path, you was young, though. You ain't never let it break you, stay.
Bring the smoke. We need to talk about this. I'm just saying. Because it's a lot of people in our community that's saying that we the black Europeans. They saying that we the black Spaniards that came here first. They saying that we the French, that we the Dutch, that we the Germans, that we're the Scots, that we the ones who came over here and changed this land. That's who they saying we are. So I'm just asking. Truth. No, he didn't bring his ass up here to bring the smoke. Is that you, Truth?
Yeah, that's me. I heard you say bring the smoke. I was smoking the blunt. I'm like, shit, I'll bring it up.
You.
Peace, Sister Bethy. How you doing?
I'm good because I want to know. You know, this a huge fight going on.
What type of fight? I'm sorry, I ain't gonna lie. I
Well,
just tapped in.
I'm flipping the script today because there's a lot of people saying that we were the Europeans that was kicked out of England, and they gave me some scenarios, and that seems to make us fit the profile. Like they were black. We came over here as Spaniards, and all the European nations that came over here was black. So that was us that first came over here. And then God, we did so bad with the North American landmass that the God who was the Pope, they created a white people and sent them over here to fix shit up. And that's why Benjamin Franklin was taking notes saying, don't bring no more blacks over here. Let's, bring people over here that look like us and fix this shit. So I'm just saying, they saying that's what they're saying.
Yeah, I know what topic you talking about. This, I ain't gonna lie. This been kind of going on for a few years now, and I don't like it because I think it's a what's the word I'm looking for? I think it's bullshit, right? I think it's another way of saying like, okay, you niggas ain't African, but you still ain't Indian either. Your ass a European, and like it's kind of the gist for what it's saying. It's like we've been speaking about our lineage up over here, and then when the evidence come out, then all this black European shit come out. And it's not to say that I think we got this mindset that European always denote white people, and that's not necessarily the case and shit. You just European regardless of what skin tone you was. Even back then, you was French or you was that, and I'm not gonna sit here and say it wasn't no melanated people that came up out that region or whatever. But what I'm saying is that they came up out that region into an area where it was more melanated people. That's why they was used to use with like if you look at Christopher Columbus, he bought more niggas than he bought white people. A lot of those voyages had a lot more melanated people than they had so-called white people, and it was because they we did business with them too, and we was more I would say we was more likely to associate with them quicker than somebody else that don't look like us. But also we got to get into the history too about people leaving here going to populate Europe too. So it's a tenfold question that got a lot of variables behind it and everything. But I think it came out as an alternative of still trying to keep us away from our lineage up over here to basically taint or dilute, our grievance about who we are. That's why I
Mm,
don't deal with that. That's why when I tell people like I never hid this, I never tried to hide this about who my father is. Like my father is mixed. You feel me?
mm,
And he's mostly white. I keep it a
mm.
buck. He mixed though, but he mostly
Yeah.
white. But
More of his European features.
right, but he ain't no black European.
Right.
That European is white bright. Like I ain't even gonna sit here and budge. And I think some people and shit be so they got a this hatred for white people so bad, and I'm kind of the same way too, but not to the point where I'm a lie about it. I think some people that find
Yeah.
these Europeans automatically be like, oh, they was black Europeans,
Yeah,
and they really
we're
don't know that shit.
like
My bad.
we're really accustomed to that in the north though. We're when we see people here in the north, and I'm talking Connecticut
Right,
because I was molded here. And when we see white people that have um our blood, a lot of them look more to their European features. They come out, the European features dominated. They came out with the straight hair, but literally, I've seen this in the state where I live in, where a woman my complexion have a baby with a white guy, and the baby came out with more of the white guy's features, and he's literally a half blood. You would think that maybe a grandfather or somebody farther away, but nope, because even though the baby came out with more of the father's features, the baby looked like the mother.
right.
The baby came out with the father's hair and skin tone, but the features was like the mother's.
Yeah.
So that's very common and normal in Connecticut. But and I also want to say this is not as a result of Top Cats because he's not the only one that talk about this.
Nah.
This I be trolling at 3 and 4 in the morning, and there's a whole nother group of guys, and I hope I got 48 people in here. I hope they're watching because I invited them to my channel, and I hope they're watching and not afraid to come on the panel. I'm talking about a group of dudes that look like me that ain't identifying as Negro or nothing. They are identifying as Scots. One dude said he was German and he looked just like me.
Yeah.
So
Eh,
I'm like, whoa,
the
how
crazy
you
thing about
German?
it, the crazy thing about it is, right, that this whole thing stemmed back from the hangout days from some Aboriginal brothers that's still around to this day. Like that, we call that the gladiator school. A lot of us, that's been around for a minute, we come from that gladiator school where we was going over all information, right? And it wasn't necessarily to say that all you niggas is Europeans. It was coming more on the premise that, the melanated race, you feel me, even in a differences, melanated people populated this whole planet.
Mhm.
No matter what section you go back to, the original inhabitants of those areas was melanated people. But then you had people like, man, and I don't even like to throw this man name out like that because I've been said my grievance a while ago when I seen him doing this shit. But Corey Mayo, he pushed that shit real heavy and shit. And I see him trying to tell niggas like, yeah, you
I
might
remember
be
that.
right, you might be Indian, but you niggas Europeans too. But then he'll paint a mongoloid black and shit with his little color chart and then try to say these your people and shit. Like, it's a lot of phallus behind that shit. Like, it's truth in everything though. I keep it a buck. But it's a lot, it's a lot of misinformation and misleading information that come along with that shit. But at the end of the day, I'm fully aware that this whole planet was melanated. So somebody talking about a black European, I'm not surprised about it. But at the end of the day, if that's what you seeing in your genealogical records, then hey, that's what you is then, nigga. If you telling me that's what you is, then you know what? Hey, I need you to start talking about Europeans. Get the fuck up off this Aboriginal shit.
I I hope y'all out there listening. Don't be shy to come on the panel. Truth 111 Truth is a nice person. But I was trolling 3 this morning and I was just like so shocked. I mean, I expect, you know, people like, in the Pan African community, they saying they Africans. But these dudes, it was a panel full of dudes. One dude looked like my complexion. He said he was German. And the other dude was saying he was Irish. And they had accents like us. So they're from our hood. They was not identifying as Aboriginals or American Indians. These dudes was like, no, uh, I'm German, and I'm like, whoa. None of them said they was from Russia, but they was like, I'm Canadian. I'm like, what? They was not identifying like us. So I'm like,
And
and
then you got the
I'm like,
extreme
wow.
you got the extreme section of that shit that try to make claim that these names of these locations like Ireland, Scott, Britain was actually locations inside of America too.
Mm.
So that's another section of people that they saying that the names that these countries today carry and shit was original names of locations up over here. And the crazy part that killed me about it is that they don't want motherfuckers to believe that shit. But then there's like, and this ain't even like, let me clear this in a row, right? I ain't no more. I don't argue more information. I don't debate more information. I really don't like debate nobody information, but I find it highly ironic that people like that want you to believe that Scotland, Ireland, and British and French was in the Americas and shit. These was real locations in America, but then there's shit on the nigga that say that Morocco was in America and then be like, no, Morocco and Africa. It's like, nah, bro. If you want nigga believe your shit, then you can't shit on that man shit. Now, me personally, respectfully, I don't believe none of that shit.
But
Just to keep it all the way a buck.
I was shocked that these two, literally true. These niggas look like me. I'm like, okay, I know I ain't got no damn contact, but this is a new one for me. And then he's talking about he was Scottish, and the other dude saying he was German. German. He was born there, and that's who he is, and he's not from Africa. And I'm like, wow. I was like, okay, this. And then the dude that said that he was England, he said that we that the white man has our last names, and we the ones who came here. We were the Spaniards that came here and took over America first from the Indians. And I'm like, all right,
Still a
now I'm hearing,
colonizer.
yeah, basically I'm like, wait, we're Spaniards. We came here and we took over America first. We had an empire here, and they have our last names. The English dude was like all the English last names. Those are our last names, and when we came here, we gave the slaves our last names. And I'm like, it's like the literally flip the script story of what we teach. And I'm like, okay, I just stayed silent.
They
And he was like,
remixing the
look,
dope.
and I'm like, oh, we the savages, and look at our dirty hoods, trash on the ground. We live like animals, piss in the hallway, shit in the hallway, human shit. We all this stuff across. Like we are the savages and we dirty. I'm like, I
That's
can't.
that's the
I
crazy part though. It's like, we had real technology over here before even this so-called cell over here story came. We had spiritual systems, we had irrigation, agriculture, we had law. We had all this shit up over here before these people even came, and we got to understand that um, with especially with Britain, you got to understand Britain did try to keep friendly relations as much as possible with some of these nations that they was encountering up over here. And we talking about the indigenous nations up over here. So one way that they was able to get around that shit was to call them savages or claim that wasn't nobody there. You feel me? Um,
why, why are they talking about they created the white man and they created him and made him different so he could stand out from wherever he goes, and wherever he goes, um everyone is going to know who he is and they're going to fear him, and they're going to have weapons of mass destruction and all this shit. And I'm like, he took that whole statement from the Bible,
yeah,
but he said, look at what they could do in other countries. They can blow up a whole country in like 10 minutes. And I'm like, he was like, do black people have those kind of weapons? Do we have those weapons? No, we don't. So they were sent by the God and created special and to be a peculiar people and to stand out from everybody. And this is why they don't like to intermix with us and all this stuff. This is the reason why they don't like to mix with us and shit like that, because they're special uh created people. They're angels.
yeah. We didn't really like to mix with them, to be honest with it.
I'm like,
Uh,
okay, this shit sound backwards. I'm like,
yeah.
ah. I'm like, are these dudes like listening to us and then flipping the story?
That's
I'm
what
like,
it sounds like. And the crazy thing about it is that this all skin folks ain't kin folks statement. This ain't nothing. This ain't no modern term. Like, this shit go back to time of antiquity and shit, because this was one of the tools that they used, was all skin folks is the same, and that's not necessarily true. And a lot of motherfuckers that did come over here with them that was on bullshit with so-called melanated people and shit. So it's like, nigga, we don't give a fuck about you being black, nigga. You was from Scotland or wherever the fuck you was from. Like, we want fucking with you like that because you came over here the same way with the conquistadors. As a matter of fact, y'all the one that showed them how to get here, because we just being honest, in time of antiquity, like, people did travel, people were aware of each other. And we got to understand another thing too, is that the war for America go back into ancient times as well too. Like, this ain't the first time that we done had people come over here to try to do what they did. It's just this the first time that they was able really to subdue us the way that they have subdued us up over here, as far as like taking over the nation structures and consolidating it into one government and controlling the full land masses of this shit. That's why I always try to tell people, like, America was never monolithic, like how people try to claim. Like, we all had our differences up over here on why we didn't rock with these people, but we rock with those people. But that was the thing that they utilized to be able to do what they did and shit. Like, it's like the Chinese store and shit, like, yeah, you coming up buying the weaves and the shit and all that, they gonna take your money and smile with you, but the moment you complain, y'all see what happened and shit, man. They trying to hit niggas with broomsticks and all types of goofy shit. So, man, I just don't get why people would want to be a part of something that they know was really against us, but still try to claim this and then claim that. And it's like, man, which one is you and shit? Like, even when I say like my father mixed, I ain't confused about who the fuck I am, and I ain't confused about where I stand at. I don't have no dual allegiance or none of that shit. You know, if it's really shot down to it and shit, honestly, a nigga like me be wishing it'll pop off like that. Man, nigga, I'ma grab a motherfucker by that stringy goddamn head, drag their ass across the motherfucker to the state capitol and shit. But these niggas, the way they be kicking their info, you really don't know where their allegiance hold at. Just to
I
be honest.
I mean, he asked me if why if you look all around the whole world, all the black people don't have no weapons like of mass destruction. Now, I don't I the last time I checked, the people over in the Middle East have brown skin and they have weapons. I mean, but here, do we have, as a people, do we have weapons of mass destruction where we could defend ourselves? I could say no. We don't have them, but our government we're under have them. So he's like I mean, he was like they're angels, that they're archangels and all this.
the the fuck type of weed smoking?
I, uh, well, that's why I know that he was taking it out the Bible, because I hear of the archangel Michael in the Bible, and um, he's the death angel,
Yeah, he the
and,
angel of death. Yeah, that's a fact.
and and so he was like, that's the power that God gave them to be death angels. All this stuff. I'm like, yo,
Well, I don't know, Sister Betty. I know when I was growing up, and this ain't even no disrespect, but like, man, my family wasn't fucking with no Africans. And it was a few niggas that they said was motherfucking white people with black skin and shit. And W.B. Du Bois was one of the motherfuckers. And I never understood that until I found out who W.E. Du Bois was. Man, that nigga was a Negro king.
and
You feel
but
me?
he was black, but he's white, as in
Yeah,
racial identity.
yeah. I mean, no, I mean he's a European. Like, that once again, we can't denote European with skin tone. It was a lot of niggas already in Europe. Like, I'm not gonna deny that fact, but the ones that came over here, man, we ain't accept them niggas with no open arms. Them niggas came over here with swords and guns drawn as well too. So they was an enemy.
Oh wow.
They was enemies. I mean, just look at it. Man, look at the whole situation from look who was on Columbus' first ship, and then look what happened. You feel me? Look who was on those other ships, and look what
So you
happened.
believe the Columbus ship was real?
I
What
mean,
happened to your avatar? Your avatar disappeared.
I don't know. I see it. It might be something with your connection. I think, or it could be mine's, but I still see my avatar. But yeah, I mean, it ain't about is they real? The people up over here, how they get up over here.
So you believe that that shit really came here?
Yeah, I do believe that those folks came here and they've been trying to find. I think they've been trying to find this location. They knew of this location, but had no way to get to this location, and they finally did. You feel me?
Oh my god,
Uh,
I keep getting mixed stories now. I heard
you don't believe
that.
Columbus came here?
Well, no, it's not that I don't believe it. I mean, I believe that they came here, but I just the time frame in making it. I mean, how did they get it from Spain to here in a sailboat? That's what's throwing me off. Were they really coming from Spain?
Well, you know, he from Italy originally.
Well, how do you get from Italy to here on a sailboat?
I mean, if you look at the codex if I'm not mistaken, I think it's either the Mayan codex or it could be the Aztec codex. They show people a different skin tone coming to them in around 1100 AD, 1200 AD on ships. Like this is written in stone. You know, this was recorded by them. This is one of the codexes that survive that show foreigners coming over here on ships way before that. So that's why I say that the ancient world knew about each other more than they like to think because the evidence is there. You know, once it's written in stone, it's written in stone. Nah,
Just
I ain't saying the 1492 shit is written in stone, but it's shit that's older than that that's written in stone that show people traversing on ships.
so all right. So let me ask you this. When first supposedly the pilgrims claim and they were black people, right? And then after the pilgrims came, because this ain't Spain came first.
Right.
They was there first. And the pilgrims are the ones who took, most of the land from Spain, right?
No, because you know the Dutch was up there before those pilgrims came.
So
They actually granted them part of they colony in order for them you know they took a lot of the Dutch colony, which I think it was like a trade off or something like that, one by force. But a lot of the lands that they traversed in at first was originally land claimed by the Dutch, which was agreement between them and the indigenous tribes up in that region and shit.
so those Dutch that came, those were black people too.
I'm gonna be real with you, Sister Bethy. I don't know. I'm not
See,
going to
that's
say
what's confused.
I'm
That
not going to
dude.
sit here and cap about that. Like I really now I know with Columbus now the people that that is documented being on his ship when the research was done on those individual people, they turned out to be black to the point that they was trying to call them Columbus slaves and shit at one point. But we know that's not the case. You know, that was all speculated. But the truth came out that these people weren't slaves. They was living regular lives over in Europe. But they definitely was up on that boat with him.
Okay,
Also with Hernando de Soto as well too. When they started doing the individuals that was on these voyages with them and shit, and they started getting into the background of who these individuals was, you know, it came to find out that these people were what we would consider to be black people.
okay. So now let's jump to the 1492 story.
Right.
When they came, right? All right. No, there was something. All right, the 1492 are the ones that were kicked out of England, correct?
No,
No,
that
it
was
was the 1619.
um I know the 1492 was christened by Isabel and Charles for that voyage, and also Columbus wrote a letter to the Great Khan of the East before his voyage as well too. So we talking about
Okay,
So
okay,
we
yeah,
talking about Kublai Khan, which would be the
okay.
great grandson of Genghis Khan. So he wrote a letter to him before he even set sail, and I correlate that with the voyage of the codex I was talking about earlier. You feel me? I connect that with that encounter on the West Coast and shit. Uh, that
Okay,
happened.
so
So
when did they get kicked out of England for just being dirty savages, the worst of the worst?
well, them was the ones that they were sending to work the plantations and shit.
Right.
So
What year? What year?
so that would be if I'm not mistaken, that would be mostly when we start getting into the English the British timeline, which would be the 1600s. Well, they tried to say people was escaping religious persecution, but then when we dig into it, we find out a lot of these people was criminals, murderers, uh, alley trash and shit. And these was the ones that they were sending over here to work the colonies that they did have and shit.
Well,
And we
that's
talk
what
about
the
from
dudes was talking about on the panel. That we are them. That's what he was saying. We them.
no,
We them. Even though we got our records, but he was like, we were them, the worst of the worst. So I'm like, okay. So
that nigga
in my
smoking
head,
rock.
I'm like, are you saying Oliver Twist was black?
Yeah, he tripping. I ain't even gonna stunt. That's like the craziest shit I ever heard. I mean, shit. I mean, damn.
So it was just the Irish, or was it more than the Irish that were kicked out?
Well,
Because
you know, the Irish and the Scottish came a little bit later on. Originally, especially dealing with the British, most of those people came up out of England. They didn't necessarily come up out of Ireland and Scotland. Like those people came a little bit later on down the timeline from what I seen. Just me
so
personally.
because the British is Irish, Scott, and Irish, Scottish, and oh god, I forgot the third one. It's three of them
Wales, England, Wales, Irish, Scott, uh, that whole little area up over there around the
that
island
make
and
up the
shit.
British. That make up the British. So those are the ones he was saying that as us, the scavengers, the thieves, and all this stuff. That we came, they brought us here, and he was like, "See, this is why you got all the black farmers with all the land in the South, because it was, they wanted to kick them out of England. So when we finished our servitude, they gave us all the land, and that's why so many black people in the South own land." I'm like, this shit sounds backwards from what we telling. He said, because they got our last name.
Well, that's see, that'll be another problem too. A lot of these guys be time jumping and not putting full context into what they saying because when uh when we started talking about areas like Mississippi, Alabama, and all that shit, them people didn't even get there, especially coming from a British understanding where they coming from. They didn't even get into that area until the 1800s. Not only was they warring with the Spaniards and the French and shit, but also the indigenous tribes. You gotta understand, Britain had a law that they couldn't go across. Not the Rocky. What mountains? What mountain region is that up over there? That ain't the Rockies, is it? No, that ain't the
Where, Tyler?
Rockies.
Where?
No,
And
no. On the East Coast, that's the Appalachian Mountains, right?
yeah, the Appalachians, the White Mountains. Let me see.
Right,
I
right.
think that's
Yeah.
in Colorado, right?
Well, the Rockies is in Colorado, so that's the Appalachian Mountains. If I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken, up over there,
Yeah.
but they couldn't go west of that. That was by law. So a lot of times these guys be trying to put locations and they be trying to put a location under the mindset uh, 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 of of England in a time frame and a location that they wasn't even at. They wasn't even there. So it's a fallacy in that coming from that standpoint just from the jump because you're trying to put them in an area that they weren't even in at the time.
I was looking, okay, because after that whole thing, I started looking at pictures down south, and there was some really classy people, like in the 1600s. I say they Indians, but then you had a area where they really look slummish, like their house looked like a big dirty hut, and the wood was all old and stuff, and people that look like us lived in them. So what's your take on that because he was like really, really taking it in. I mean, these dudes was like he's really, really uh a European and he's black and oh and the other guy. I mean, I was just like, this guy he's saying he's German, and I looked up black Germans and there was pictures of them because I never really looked at Germany from that perspective.
Right. I mean, I'm not just because you showing just because you showing uh a black German, okay. That now
These
you trying
Germany people, black people in Germany. And I was like, he's really throwing me. And I'm like, I this is freaking me out. Nazi
right.
Germany. You see this?
Yeah, I see it.
So what do you think?
I mean,
They call them Afro German.
yeah, I mean, once again, just showing me a dark motherfucker in Germany don't necessarily negate to the story that he talking about though. So
I'm
so
like,
he so he basically trying to remix and put his own spin on shit and
yeah.
not even really properly assessing the whole situation. Cause once again he's saying that that's why they was down in Mississippi and all that. Bro, you have to take me to the 1800s then showing me that. You can't show me that shit back in the 1600s and shit like that because they wasn't even there.
I'm like, yo, they was like, I'm looking up this shit and look at this. The Scottish black dude.
Right.
Is this? I'm like, oh my God. But I never, I'm so busy in our history as a people that it never dawned on me to look up Scottish black people. And I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, it was melanated people all over. Like, just to be honest, so the
Let
fact
me
that you
see if
said
it's some.
the fact that he's saying that it was black, you welcome. The fact that he's saying that it was black people in Europe at that time, okay. But now you're making claims that all the black people down south in Mississippi is these black Europeans that would sit here by England. Well, nigga, you gonna have to show me a English colony in Mississippi, Louisiana, and Alabama in the 1600s. This fuck the
No, you
16.
can't. There's
I'm
not
gonna
one.
even give you all of the 16 from the 1600s to 1805. Show me an English colony in those regions. And that nigga ain't gonna be able to do that. And that's why I be saying like they be time jumping and don't put this shit in chronological order because the moment you put it in chronological order, the shit that you really don't understand, you gonna see that that shit don't make sense. And once that shit don't make sense, you don't double down on it and try to force it to make sense. You got to read that shit for what it really is.
Damn. I'm looking at black Russians. Ain't never seen one. I never thought to just look. Afro Russians. They look like Africans. Wow. They was freaking me out. It was a whole conversation like so opposite from ours. And I'm like, I never thought I've been so into just looking into our Aboriginal history over here that it just never dawned on me to look up like black Russians, black Dutch, just like black any other race. I'm like, holy shit. And he was really standing on this dude was really standing on that he was black, Irish, and Scottish. I'm like, wow, 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 wow. If y'all watching, the link is in the chat.
Well, you know, if if you're not really like sometimes people will make statements that'll throw a motherfucker off that they don't really take the time to think and fully assess the full situation of the thing, because it's like this. If I wasn't in mindset of knowing that these timelines matter with this shit, that a motherfucker could have threw me off my rock by saying that shit. But then once again, I'm sound minded and understanding that time frames matter. You can't tell me that the English bought black anything to a certain region that they wasn't in. I don't give a fuck if he was saying that they was African. Show me an English colony in those regions between in that time frame. And if you can't do that, then niggas need to stop saying that shit, because the biggest problem that's going on and what a lot of this confusion is really coming from when it comes to this information is that we getting a lot of information about certain time frames in certain regions from a British and an American perspective when they wasn't even there.
Wow.
And they're giving it in a perspective as if they was there and they wasn't. So that's why when I hear niggas get to talking about, I don't give a fuck what this black motherfucker came from. You feel me? You not finna tell me no British, English, American story about Alabama, Mississippi. Fuck that. Georgia, Southern Carolina and shit. Parts of Carolina, the southern part of Carolina down to Florida. You gotta wait to a certain time frame before you can start speaking about the British bringing anybody to that region. Why? Because they wasn't there. Why do we know that? Because of the Indian Wars that we do know about, that has a time stamp on it, and we know what went down in that shit. So that's that shit I be talking about. Like, man, some of these motherfuckers, like, they just be talking, and when you start asking real questions, because the moment that nigga would have been like, yeah, the reason why you got all them niggas down in Mississippi because they really black Irish and black Scottish that was bring here
See, that's what.
by the British and shit, the first question is gonna be out of my mind, hey, what time frame did they start doing that, homie? And if that nigga say anything before, I'm gonna give it 8. Fuck that, I'm gonna be generous. If that nigga say anything before 1815, I'm gonna be like, nigga, you cap. And then I'm gonna go the fuck in on him, because he definitely cap. Because we can really give credence of 1830 or 1820, but even after those treaties and shit was established, those people still did not just straight start moving in and setting up government structures and shit, because a lot of the land had to be cleared up of the
But then
swamps.
we
Why?
already have structures on it though at that time, right?
Yes, we did. The reason why they're able to draw a diagram of Cahokia is because before it was destroyed, they already knew what Cahokia looked like. Now, do Cahokia look like that now? No. Why don't it? Because they destroyed it. So, man, like that what I'm saying, like man, that nigga would have said that shit to me, I would have went straight into the timelines. Like, all right, let's go, let's do this shit by the timeline. Like I was just telling Jers earlier, like niggas always talking about the Haitian Revolution, but they never speak about the 2,000 Polish that helped them fight that revolution. Why they don't ever bring them up? A lot of people don't even know that it was 2,000 Polish that helped fought the Haitian Revolution that was in
Was
plantation
they
fields.
black?
I never heard that.
Man, I ain't gonna
Was
lie,
they
sister, man.
black, Truth?
I don't know. I don't fucking know. All I know is that it is known that it was well over 2,000 Polish in plantation fields that helped fight the Haitian Revolution,
Wow.
Get
and that
out.
is a fact.
Okay,
Wow.
so we're Black Europeans now. Is that what I'm gathering?
That's what them
Well,
niggas trying to say.
the guys
Oh,
that was on, not Top Cats, because this is a whole new group. Um, They're talking about that they don't identify as us at all. Dudes like, I'm Irish, point blank. And I'm like, wow, this is a whole nother different group of people. Brothers that look like me, my complexion. Literally saying, I am Irish.
Then go
And
back
I'm
to
like,
Ireland, nigga.
That's what I'm saying. Like, let people be where they're from, but just don't tell us that we're not the American. And then I'm fine. You want to be a black Irish, you want to be a black Englishman, good for you. But just don't come and project your English and your Irishness on our Americanism. And everything's good. We can all be happy.
wow. I never looked at shit from this perspective. I look at this, y'all. Tell me what you think. These are black Polish. Now, are these black people in Poland or are they just Poland?
You gotta remember too, you looking at a bunch of modern pictures too.
Yeah.
This modern
Oh,
times.
okay. Okay.
So and that gonna be another thing too that I would have went at them at, like, hey man, stop showing me all these moderate pictures. Like when me I had a discussion with Sabir Bey. You know who that is, Sister Betty? Sabir Bey?
I hear of his name, but
Yeah.
I see him in the chat too.
No, this guy is is kind of like a sort of Duke, the Tiz, but I think he's like the Aldi's brand of that though. You feel me? I had a
Off brand of him.
yeah, I think he an off brand of sort of Duke of Tiz. You know, cool guy though. You know, I had a conversation with him, right? And we start
Wait,
and
wait. You had a conversation with Duke of Tears?
yeah, I had one with him. He came on my channel before, but no, I'm talking about Sabir Bay. I
Why
fuck with
do
the
I
sort.
know that
I
name?
yeah,
I
because you
know
know,
that name. I hear it all the time.
yeah, I mean,
It,
you know, he done been on Sinetta and shit. And you know, he got a name for himself among the Moors. You know, I'm gonna keep it a buck, he do. But it's Moors that disagree with him too. But I remember I had a conversation with him because we started talking about the slave trade. And we
mm-hmm.
went up there. And one thing that I know about this is that we gonna talk about movement of goods and people. We know that there are companies set up for that. So we start talking about the Portuguese East Indies and West Indies company. And I asked them first, I was like, why would they put Portuguese geographic location company? And he admitted, and you know, I'm gonna be real with you. I know that too. If it's called a Portuguese East Indies company, it's because that's where they're operating out of. If it's called the West East Indies company, that's where they're operating out of. If it's called,
Okay.
you know, anytime they have a geographic location behind it and company, is because that's where they operate now. They're like the Virginia London company. Why? Because it was from Virginia to London. That's where they was operating out of when they when the British start operating out of
Oh, you cut off. So they open up businesses in other countries.
well,
And
what
wait,
would the
wait.
Portuguese East
You,
Indies company be operating out of? He was like, the East Indies. I was like, I know it's records to show what they was moving as well too, as far as goods to and from. I'm like, where would the West Indies company be at? He like, in the West Indies. I was like, yeah, I know, because that's where they was moving and operating up out of. So what company would it be for Africa? And he couldn't answer that. And then he tried to get to showing me pictures of his travels to Portugal recently, and I tell him, I was like, yeah, man, that's cool, man, that's dope, man. Them pictures, that views, dope. But at the end of the day, you showing me modern shit that has nothing to do with the past shit that we talking about. So you bringing that up has nothing to do with the conversation whatsoever, because now you showing me modern shit, trying to convince me about some past shit, and you doing a horrible job at it.
mm,
It's just about asking the right questions. It's just all about asking the right questions. Hey, bro, give me a time frame of it. Okay, give me the company that was doing it so I can see it.
Wow.
This is business at the end of the day, and their business and its transactions and records of the business that was going on and shit. That's why a lot of this shit they've been pushing on us for decades now is starting to fall and crumble from the very foundation that they built it up on, because the foundation was shaky from the fucking jump. Like it ain't even crumbling from the top down. It's crumbling from the bottom up because the foundation is fucked up behind it.
Hmm.
Just like the Royal African Company. That was a shell company. Anybody that know real business and niggas trying to hide money and shit, that's a shell company. So, I mean, next time I see them niggas, I'll tell that nigga to give you a time frame. Show me them being in those regions at that time that you speaking about. And also, what's the name of the company that was bringing them? Because couldn't no individual, independent motherfucker do this. If you did that, you could go to jail for that shit. That's known. That's documented. Ain't no operating business without these kingdoms getting a cut of it. So
That's
you operating on your own independent and shit, nigga. You basically a pirate. And you know what happened when they caught pirates? Nigga, they hung them. We see
hmm.
that in pirate movies still to this day, nigga. When they finally get caught, what happened, nigga? They got hung. Ain't no doing no independent shipping of goods and shit into a location and going back to your home and just chilling. Bro, you gonna have a bunch of red coats or blue coats or whatever fucking coats they had on showing up at your door. Like, hey fam, where them goods at? What where our tax at? Oh, you ain't got out.
Ah, yep. That's
You
right.
operating on your own? Oh yeah, bro, you gotta come to court. We gotta go talk about this. Put them shackles on that nigga. Matter of fact, he won't shut up. Put that monument on him. Muffled is a so like yeah.
Oh, he fell off. I Business, you wanted to say something before I go?
Oh, well, actually, I was just interested in what you were saying that we're the new European, but I got it. I got it all cleared up
Well,
now.
I didn't say. Well, the guy was saying that he was Irish, and the other guy that looked just like me, said he was
Mm,
German, and he has nothing to do with being American.
mm. Well, he don't got nothing
And
to do with being
and
American.
that we are the real um Europeans that was kicked out of England. Us as a people.
Oh, that's rude.
And white people have our last names. We don't have their last names.
You know, a
And
lot
I'm
of the
like,
white
well,
people were kicked out and they went to Australia, and you don't see a big quote unquote African American population there, but you do see a big European population there. So why is it there's white folks over there? And you understand what I'm saying? Why aren't we all over there? Why aren't there millions of black folks in Australia if that's
that's what
the
I'm saying.
black European? Yeah.
He's talking about we came, they kicked us out because we was the worst. It's like he's telling the story in reverse in another way. It's like we was
Right.
the ones because we was the dirty, the thieves, the crooks, and they kicked us out of England. And I showed him the definition of American. He said that we was the black Europeans born in America. I was like,
That's
oh
like low self
wow.
esteem. That's like coonery. You know, we have to be everything that's the worst of the worst, right? I mean, that's just
Yeah,
like low self esteem. Like, love yourself. Like, why is it that we have to be the slave? So you can't. So the slave story don't make sense. That we were all shackled up, all tight within feces coming from Africa. So millions of people. That don't make no sense.
no,
Now
it don't.
so then they had to fix that. Now it's only 300,000, yet it's 100 million of us here in Americas, right? So that don't make no sense. So now they're trying to say that we came from England. Okay.
It's a
And that don't
mess.
make no sense.
I
What
mean,
makes
he
sense
like
is
literally threw the whole European story on us that we
no,
was
that's not our
kicked out of England.
story.
I'm like, how we gonna be? Don't we predate England? America predates England. So how are we being kicked out? That's where didn't make any sense. Because last week I said, wait a minute, we predate Europe, correct? And I know we predate England. True.
Actually,
Go ahead, honey.
I want to answer the person in the chat talking about white slavery. You know what I have realized that there was an Asian slave trade that happened here, and that happened over hundreds of years. And they're not telling us that those people were shackled up and squished like sardines on the boat. It's a whole different story. Matter of fact, they said the Philippines were actually working with Spanish when they were doing that. So I'm not sure if all slaves were European, but a majority of the slaves were Asians. So that's your slave.
Wow. Wow. What you say to that, Truth? So is that why they're saying that they're Native Americans?
That's why, and they took those when they got their reparations or when they got freed, they put them on the reservations and called them indigenous. And that's the reason why, or that's their slave trade, because Mr. Not a Coincidence was talking about we could believe there's white slaves, but we can't believe that there's African slaves. I can't believe there's an Asian slave. And that's the reason why all these people look Asian. It's not because they walked across the iceberg.
I know that don't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. This shit is mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling because all right, the information that I receive about our history and our research, my research is that we um voluntarily accepted these uh last names that we have and they gave us Christian Bible names. What say you to that? Isness and truth. Our people, we when we took on the Christianity, our names changed from what they originally were because they gave us Christian Bible names. I mean the reason why I can attest to that is because Metacom, they gave him King Philip. That's the name they gave him. What say y'all to that?
Well, the last names ain't in the Bible. Ain't nobody's last name Jacoby, or you know what I mean? So I could see where people picked out first names, but I don't see no one's last name as biblical name. You know, I don't know any Ishmaels. You know, no one that's not a historical name. You understand what I'm saying? Like for instance, you know, we have a Morgan in our family. That's not a Christian name.
Right, it's not. Not a coincidence saying isness. You said basic. Here it is. I just sitting there, and you know what? I kept my mic muted. I was very nice because I was new. I don't know these guys. I don't, and it's like, oh, you.
I didn't say there was
I,
white people. Sorry.
oh no, go ahead. I could go ahead.
I said there was Asians, and they came through the Pacific Ocean, not the crazy Atlantic where you guys have all those hurricanes. And right now in California, was it about 70, 60 degrees? It's
Hmm.
not. This is our winter, right? So they were coming from a Pacific island, which is the Philippines, and
Hmm.
coming over to California, Mexico. That's what I'm saying. That the
Okay.
Atlantic slave trade did not happen. So they weren't white. I'm talking about Asian people. Not a coincidence.
Right. I don't believe that happened either. I can't.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense, especially physically. How are you going to make it through them conditions? How are you even? How are you even going to get? All right. Let's say they came in through Canada to here. Would that make any sense?
What you're saying, like just Canada?
Yes. If they came, no. If they came, to what way? Well, you know what? I could really look it up. What way did they get from Spain? Which way did they take from Spain to the Americas?
They came through the Pacific.
In those conditions, and they can make that trip.
Well, we don't have terrible weather conditions. It's like sunny out here. I mean,
Well,
we don't have like stormy weather.
I'm talking about as far as like the water, because if you look at the way that they claim to have come, it's confusing to me.
Well, this is new for me to learn that in which a Filipino person will tell you that Spain conquered them, right? So Spain was
Right,
already there. And so used, they just, Spain already conquered the Filipino islands and other islands, and they just went back and forth from there. But as far as going to the Atlantic Ocean, that's what I've always been told, but it doesn't make any sense because the weather conditions are terrible. Like I've
right.
heard like current military members say that it's difficult, even right now, in a supersized military ship, it's still hard to maneuver those waters.
Have they been able to successfully do that, or did they turn
They
around?
No, they said they've done it, but it's like it's hard, it's difficult. Like the guys are stuck. They said right now they have to like sit, in the hole or whatever. It's difficult, even with
Oh,
today's technology.
correct. And back then, they just had sailboats.
Right. Little
It
wooden
makes
wooden boat.
right.
Yeah.
That wood would have. I mean, water got to come through that wood. They would have drowned.
Right.
Because the way they make ship now with metal, and I mean, I know we had metal back then because they had to make like knives and swords and shit. But I mean, the amount of time to make the way that they made the metal back then, the amount of time it would have take to melt that metal down so that it could be a ship. Come on, we
Right.
gotta.
It
It's
doesn't
not
make any
making any
sense.
sense. It doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense that the water wasn't as dangerous as it is now, and perhaps maybe the water was lower. It wasn't that many feet of water.
Now I was reading and that during the ice age, I think you're right. The water was lower, and Africa and Southern America wasn't so far. So so there was like
Yeah, because it didn't break away. Yeah.
right.
Mm.
But that was like 20,000 years ago, like something really far away. Not this modern 1500s that we're talking about.
Okay, so they really capping because he's
Yeah.
saying steel was invented in 1856. So there's no damn way. It's no way. And then I'm saying, okay, well, perhaps I keep trying to spin this, and every way I land, I'm like, okay, maybe this is freaking England, the main land here.
No.
Well, because I'm
No.
I'm like, we predate them, so how can it doesn't? That's why I'm saying what I'm saying. I mean, like, we predate England, correct?
Yes.
So how? As a matter of fact, we built England. We built all the structures in England. Oh, oh, I wish one. If y'all are listening, y'all guys that was on the panel last time, please come up here. Because if we built England, then that means we kicked them out of here and sent them there. How about we sent all the dirty, savage people there? They are pretty disgusting.
The Black Europeans were kicked out of America.
That's what I'm thinking. That's why I keep going back and forth, like with our language, right? Our language, we're speaking our language and it's original. And they're copying our language. Their language is a dialect of ours. I I don't believe we spoke Latin. That because building that Moore school, these Europeans came over to teach them little Indians how to speak German and Latin and Hebrew. So, or see, this is too much. Let's take a spin. That I remember Chief Holiday saying that Bible was written in German. So why would it be necessary to teach them German? All right,
I
Rootwork, don't come
mean,
in my chat room disrespecting you. We're having a professional dialogue and it's no cursing and swearing. So
if you
be
want to
act,
clear something,
act,
just be cool.
act
Yeah.
like a 45, act like a 45, 50 something year old man and be respectful. So um you don't have to cuss. I want a decent conversation, not like we're 16 in high school. Anyway, I'm trying to spin this as many ways as I can. We know, all right, I'm going to ask the audience, 115 people in here. Does North America predate Europe? That's going to say a whole lot, y'all. Give me a one if North America predates Europe. If the continent of North America predates Europe, give me a one. If it doesn't, give me a two. Does the continent, oh, if it predates Europe, give me a one. If it does not predate Europe, give me a two. They're saying North American continent. I'm getting all ones so far, no twos yet. I think I only got 1, 2. Not a coincidence. Okay, they're saying yes. All right. So now that changes the ball game. Um, root word. Does North American continent predate Europe? I'm asking you this question. Well, when I say predate, it was here before. Who was established first? I'm asking the question. It does North American continent predate Europe? No, Sister Betsy. No. Okay. Now that says a whole lot. So, does North American continent predate England? One, give me a one yes or two no. Because this is going to tell a whole different story. Does the North American continent predate England? Copper said yes. Everybody's saying yeah. Okay. All right. So if questions don't make sense. All right, root word. You come up and somebody else come up. Because I wanna hear both. Because I have a whole if that's the case, then it's a whole different story. We I'm gonna hold my tongue because and hear what he say. I'm gonna put the damn link in the chat because he's saying that it don't, and the whole audience, everybody's saying it. There's the link. I want you to. I want to hear your reason why Europe predates America. Root word. And not a coincidence. You can hit the link because I want to hear your reason why it does not. And then I'm gonna open my mouth. I'm not gonna say nothing because if I say something, they're gonna try and change this story. I want to know why first. Chat. Rootword, hit the link. Not a coincidence. Hit the link. We gonna be nice. We're not gonna be mean. Pat, put stay to the man. I'm not, if I give them my answer, they're gonna try to change theirs. That's why I'm not gonna say nothing. Put stay to the man of a cat. Put a date. Hit the link, root word. Not a coincidence. Hey, Kai. No, because I want to hear this. I want to hear this. Root word is saying no. And the people, if you said America predates Europe and England, hit the link. If you say it don't, hit the link. I want to hear both stories because then my story's going to make sense. And I'm not saying my story first because root word, I want to hear. All right, root word. I want to hear root word. Root word. Run it.
Salute, ladies. Hope y'all's day going okay.
Good.
OG Bessie, hope you doing all good. Troublemaker.
Oh, there's smoke. I'm not a trouble. I'm not gonna say what my answer is because I know you're gonna try to change your damn story. Because now when I say my story after you root word, you can't cut me off. So tell me why North America, hey smoke, does not predate Europe and England. I'm gonna relinquish my mic and I'm not.
Now I'm gonna say the civilization, but you can't say no continent because you can't give the dates to the continents when they was made. I digress.
But hold up, I didn't. I'm just saying who was civilized first. Who was first? Root word. Don't laugh because it's not funny. You're saying that Europe is older than the continent North America.
No, I'm saying continents. Now I'm understanding what you were saying, civilization. I'm agreeing that I would say America built the Black Americans, the Indians, the Moors built Europe. But as a continent, man, I mean, when was I don't know how a person could answer that question as a continent.
Oh, okay. I'll use the right choice word. Civilization. Who was civilized first? Here on North America or out there?
According to Latin and according to the rivers, America.
Were okay. So then you agree with me
that the Moors did it.
I'm gonna set that. I'm gonna set that aside.
He's trying to start an argument with you now, Sister B.
Right.
I know. I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna feed into it.
I agree.
I'm not gonna start.
I look the best.
Okay.
And
All
she's
right.
OG to me, but on this topic of Moors, I'm starting trouble. So I might not even need to be here. She might
No,
need to kick me
because
off. I respect it.
last month you was ragging on every Moor that walked by, so I'm not even gonna argue with you.
Hey,
Okay.
Sister
So
Bethany, can I
now,
get in on this right now?
yes, go right ahead, and
Okay,
don't
check
cut him
this
off,
out.
Root Word. I'm a mute.
Check this out. Now, I'm not going to disrespect Root Words because he has some real powerful information as well. But I will say this. Uh, we can look at the pyramids that were built, that are on the eastern continent side and the western continent side. So if I ask Root Words, what are the five great rivers that lead off of the Great River? Can you name them?
What was the great what?
I said, what are the five rivers that lead off the Great River?
I know one thing. There ain't 5 rivers that lead off the great nothing in Africa. I know that.
I didn't say
So when you
that.
say that, I'm
Answer the
almost done with my
question.
answer. I'm almost done with my answer. If you don't like it, I respect it. I'm about to land my plane. You brought up the pyramids over there in Africa and the pyramids in America. I'm kicking that story out of Africa because there ain't no 5 rivers. Now, do you want me to name the 5 rivers in America for you, sir? Because it's only supposed to be 4.
Yes,
But
that's
I
what
digress.
I asked.
Okay, it's the Illinois. I mean, it's the ones that connect, where they connect at, right?
Correct.
Okay, in Cairo, Illinois, that sits above Memphis. The Mississippi River meets the Mississippi River meets the Missouri River, that meets the Ohio River, that meets the Paducah River, that sits in the center of Egypt.
Now,
Paducah,
didn't
I
I
never
say,
heard of it.
now wait a minute, Root Word. Didn't I say I was not going to disrespect you because you got some powerful information? Did I not say that?
Oh yes, sir. Going nowhere. You trying to kick Africa out
Okay,
of this, but
okay, let me
you're right though. I'm
continue.
coming in
Oh,
there from
okay.
Sister Betsy, so I really don't want to mess
Let
up
me
her show. I just like
continue,
speaking
Root
with her,
Words.
sweetheart.
Root Words, let me continue.
Go ahead, bro.
You are
Simon,
100% correct. You are
turn your TV off, Simon. First, turn your
okay.
TV off. We hear it in the
Okay.
background.
Okay. Now can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Root Words, you are 100% correct. Because I was going to say, you got the Grand Canyon, which almost lost all its water. That's one. Then you got the Colorado River. That's 2. You got the Mississippi. You got the Tennessee and the Ohio. That's true. And then you got the one that runs up there along the shucks. Uh, the one that runs along Pennsylvania up there. What do they call it? The Magnolia River. Okay, so those are the 5. Of course, there's none over there in Africa because they only got but 3. People calling the Nile River over there. No, the Nile River is over here, and you just said, just like I did, that the Mississippi River is the Great River. We know it as what? Old Man River. So this part of the earth is older than any of that other stuff over there, if they want to put it like that. That's why
All
I
right.
said you had.
But wait, what about the Missouri River, which is bigger than the
Well, yeah,
Mississippi River?
that when you mentioned, he called the Missouri River an indigenous name. I forget what he used. Root word. Can you say that word again, please?
The what?
What? Name
The
that river.
Missouri River. The
Yeah.
Missouri River.
What's the indigenous name for the Missouri River that you called it?
Y'all ain't gonna like it. It's Big Mo. Big Mo. Dealing with the Mo's and the Mo's. Big
Oh
Money.
my God.
No,
Okay.
no. That's not what you called it.
No, that's what I thought I did. But if I didn't, give me the name though, because I
I
stay
can't
away from
pronounce the
that. I
name
just
you
was on
called.
here. I
He
didn't.
said,
I just came on here to pick with Sister Bethy, and after I was gonna pick with her, I was just gonna fall back though. I like picking with Sister Bethy. She OG around here, man. We just be on that
I
bullshit
see.
about the Moors. But I digress
Listen,
though.
he
I don't want
said,
to really
here we
mess with
go.
the show though. That's all. That's all.
Here, here the,
he said the Paducah River, but he wasn't referring to the Missouri then though. That's why I said I never
okay.
heard of the Paducah.
In some
You ain't
languages,
never heard of the Paducah River?
yeah, in some languages it is called that
Hey, I didn't know that. Why?
because you got different people at different times that name things differently as they came across it. You know how it go. Like when
Okay,
you're
so now
now,
that we
has
got
anybody been in New York? Has anybody ever been in New York City besides Sister Bethy?
hold up, wait a minute. We don't want to drift too far
Yeah,
from.
I have.
We don't,
No. This is what I'm showing you, brother. You have
That's
you
what I was
have
feeling,
street.
Smoke though. That's what I was saying, Smoke.
You got streets in New York that got 3 names on the street. When you walk down these particular streets, you got the name is in English, then it's in German, and then you may see it again in French. But it's all the same street. That's what I was saying about when the brother was naming the river. Different people gave it different names when they were occupying that area. That's all I was saying.
Oh, okay.
all
Yeah,
right, well,
but I
let's
know
get
I've been
back
talking a
to.
little shit about Sister Bethy, but I think she a major factor in this community, and she's the one that took this stuff outside of YouTube, though. So just cause I disagree with her and be wilding out over the Moore name, I really do respect OG. I know she don't like the name OG, so I say the goddess or the
I,
chief. But
I
yeah, that's
also
all. It's
wanted
just
to
the
ask
Moore chief.
root
That's the only
word.
thing I be bickering with her about, though. That's it, though. Now I ain't really mean to come up
I also
here and direct and
I
show
also
off
wanted
anything
to
else
ask
I put
root
out there.
word. I also wanted to ask root words because I was searching for this, but it's been years for me since I even had a discussion on anything like that. What was the name of Spain before the Moors lost that?
Oh, I can't go before 400 before Christ. They'll say something. I don't know. I mean, I be guessing, man. I'll be guessing to say they'd say something like the Carolinians, the Carolinthians. You know, my opinion. Dealing. See, I'm gonna go there or
It was
Rome.
called Castile.
Hispania.
Oh man.
Well,
See, there goes Sister Beth.
The Romans did call the Iberian Peninsula Hispania.
Would you say
Huh?
Castile? It was called Castile.
Yeah, Spain was
Yeah.
called Castile, but the
Yeah.
Romans did
Castile.
call Iberia. They called Iberia Hispania in the Roman times.
Okay. So when we're having these kind of discussions, a lot of times the words of places seem to change, but they're really the same, and it's just that they have been taken over by different people at a certain particular time. That's
I see
why
you.
when the discussion came up, and I said I put it in the chat, pull up a map and look at the Pacific Ocean from California over to Africa, and then pull up the map and look at the
What?
Pacific.
Wait.
Yeah. See, I learned this years ago. This I'm just trying to explain something. Pull up a map and look at America as we call it today, and look from west all the way over there to Africa. Then do the same thing on the Atlantic side and look at from like I don't know. I'm just going to use a particular word. We're going to look at it from Pennsylvania all the way over across from there over to Africa. Yeah. And when you look at the Atlantic Ocean, let me tell y'all something about that Atlantic Ocean if you ain't never been on it. It is choppy as I don't know what out there. But when you're on the Pacific side, it's not like that. One of the oceans is very calm. The other one is very rough.
Okay. So
So when you so
smoke.
when you go to
Oh,
thinking about that, what they want to call the slave trade, and you look at where Asia is sitting, and you come down that Pacific,
Mm.
and you can come straight down the Pacific and come right into Central America or Mexico, if that's what you want to call it. You can come right off into that, and then you'll see where a lot of the Asians ended up at first.
Okay, so hold that thought. Smoke was getting ready to take it because I don't want to throw off why the real reason why all of them came up here. Um, I'm not playing with you today. Go ahead, Smoke. You got it. Because not a coincidence disagrees. So I want to let Smoke hold it down.
Okay, yeah, just for confirmation, Root Word does agree that America was the first. I mean, had civilization prior to Europe, right? Is that correct?
Yes, yes. Facts. I agree with most stuff Miss Sister Bethy say. It's just the more stuff. Yes, you're right.
Okay, I think the rest of us are also in agreement with that, except with the exception of not a coincidence. So, yeah, with that being said, I
You
think we
didn't
can.
ask me that though. You didn't ask me that, brother.
No, that was the whole reason she asked you to come up here because you disagree with America being.
No,
I
no,
mean,
because I asked the question. I said, is she talking about land mass or the people? So I still don't know if she's talking about land mass or the people. If you're saying
no, we're not.
civilized,
No,
well,
we're
I'm
that's
not
talking
something
about
talking
totally
about.
different.
No, we're not
I'm
talking about
talking about
land mass or people. We're talking about civilization. So we can't
So do I
nobody
think
say.
America? My bad.
No, can't nobody really say what landmass came first. And we can speculate, but we can't nobody really just. No, we
right.
don't have enough. No, that's too
No,
far
I
back
want
in.
to know if the North American civilization predates Europe and England.
Yep.
I would say so.
Okay,
On
not
my
a
evidence of
coincidence.
the weather. My fault. Go ahead. My fault. I apologize.
Yeah, I know y'all do. Not a coincidence was the one that disagreed. You got it, not a coincidence. Your mic is muted if you're talking. Smoke got it.
My bad. I got a phone call. My bad.
No, you got it. I wanted to know if North America civilization predates um, Europe, Europe where the Pope is, Europe, and England.
I would say yeah because I don't think it's civilized today.
Oh shit, that was funny.
Okay, anybody got it now?
Okay, so what's this
Uh,
title mean though? You saying Europeans kicked out of England and we fit the
Oh,
profile? How do we?
oh, oh my God. Okay, so you know me, Smoke. 2 and 3 in the morning. I jumped up on. Oh my God, I almost said it. I'm gonna go back and look. But there was dudes that look like me telling me that they were Irish. One dude, the one that really looked like me, said he was German. He has nothing to do with being American, even though he was born here. Okay. And then he said that we were the Europeans that got kicked out of England. And are the ones who enslaved the Indians and beat them and blah, blah, blah. I mean, he like literally switched our whole story. They have our last names. We don't have theirs. We beat them. And then he got into the white man was created so he could stand out from everybody. And he had the power to go around and colonize and rule the whole world. That's why they look different from us. And that the white man is the archangel, the death angel, all this shit. What
sis,
say
sister,
y'all?
sister Bethy.
Hold up,
Let me
Simon.
ask it. Okay.
Hold up, honey. That's what it was, Smoke. You got it, Smoke. He literally switched our whole story and said we were the savages and the bad people. Look at our hoods. They're dirty, filthy, stink. Oh, the white guy has the power everywhere in the world. That's why they could um colonize everywhere, and all the brown people in the world do not have weapons of mass destruction. Oh, it's just horrible.
Yeah, well, I think he's very unfamiliar with European slums, with Asian slums, with with uh what's this other group? The Hindu slums. Yeah, and they
What's
slums,
the definition?
right? They slums are like 10 times worse than the worst neighborhoods in America. So I think his argument is baseless.
Yeah, because
I
when
agree.
we talk about ghettos and slums, when you look at the definition of it, it started in Germany for them. They surrounded a certain people over there and said, "We're gonna put you in these little places and call it the ghetto." So a lot of this so-called history, when
Exactly.
we call the white man in charge, which they probably is in charge with a iron fist dealing with nuclear weapons. Nuclear weapons and their charge has a modern date. It don't go back no 400-500 years from mine. It might go back 70 years, and it look like it might not be lasting another 70 years. So give them credit for their short ass term of greatness. Autograph shit.
I'm gonna say this. Do you all remember watching the movie not the Hateful Eight, I mean the Django?
Which one? The one with
Uh Jamie Foxx.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Who was the slave
Elisha, I would
master?
like you to hit the link, sister. I don't mind. Come on up, hon.
Who was the slave master in that movie?
Um,
What was his name?
Leonardo
Candyman
DiCaprio.
or something? Yeah.
You talking about
I couldn't
Leonardo
hear you.
DiCaprio? Leonardo DiCaprio, right?
Yeah, that's why I was asking who was the slave master in that movie.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
No, he wasn't. It was Samuel L. Jackson.
What?
Samuel was not the slave owner.
Yeah,
No, he
you got
wasn't.
to go back and look at the. Wait, hold on, brother. You got to go back and look at that movie because
I seen
during
that
those
movie.
times, wait a minute, hold on, man. During those times, it was told to us that our people didn't read, write, or count. What was Samuel L. Jackson doing in that
That's
movie?
not true. That's not true, bro. Y'all gotta
I
stop
look,
competing.
look, look. Hold on, bro.
Black people
Hold on,
could
bro.
definitely read and write. I don't know why you saying
Bro,
that.
you
That's horrible.
listen. I said they said. I didn't say we didn't. I said
Well, it's
they
not
said.
true. Why are you even repeating
I
it though?
know
It's
it's
not
not
true.
true. I know it's not true. That's why I said they said.
They said it
You
was
didn't
illegal
you didn't hear
for
me
us
say,
to read.
yeah,
I agree
they
with you. And if you
listen.
don't know English, ain't no way you gonna come here and just get that shit and start talking that shit unless you go to school for it. So you slaves didn't know no English, bro. Gotta agree.
Not
Gotta
do
agree.
not need to go to school to learn English. You got kids that are speaking English before they go to school. So what are you talking about? You have
Sir,
children.
all I'm saying is my fault,
All you need
Taylor.
to
All
do
I'm
is
saying is,
hear.
man,
All
look,
you need to
man,
do is hear.
if they're saying
I
that
wish I
y'all
could
did not know how to
finish my thought. I wish I could finish my thought on this. Just to point out something. I said Samuel Jackson was the slave master in there. But it's not going
Mm.
to show that he was actually the slave master. It's just going to show you that he was the what do you call that? What do you call that? The head of the slaves in that movie. Now, if you
The
go
head
back
nigga in charge.
and you see it, yeah, head nigga in charge. Yes. If you go back and really pay attention to that movie, he, he was sitting there doing all the writing. He was the one filling out the checks. He was doing that. He was doing all of that. And in the end, what did he say? This is Candyland. Candyland gonna be here. See, there's plenty of writings where it's showing that a lot
Well,
of our
if you're
people
looking
was
at it
the.
from an employment, hey Simon, if you're looking
No.
at it from an employment perspective, then perhaps he was the master because the master is a manager, a director, or whatever.
Oh, that brings
Exactly.
in that slavery might not have been all the way like that. It might have been indentured servitude, like when Nada C just got smashed. Because that's all they say is a whole bunch of niggas
Ex-
getting beat around here. But the truth might be there's a whole bunch of motherfuckers. I just need
Well,
30 seconds
stop
to land.
lying on people
I need
panel.
30
I
seconds.
wanted
I
to.
need 30 seconds to land, Nada C. 30 seconds, my brother. I'm saying that a lot of these stories could have indentured servitude, some type of company to them. And in that movie, it showed that there was different jurisdictions over here, black people, because you was allowed to kill certain black people, but when a certain man pulled out a certain piece of paper, they couldn't kill him. So I'm trying
you
to say
better
there's two
believe
different
it.
types of motherfuckers over here,
Exactly.
but I digress, though, man.
That
Oh
was
No,
boy.
crazy.
no, finish it, because you just said it. You just said it. Go ahead, finish it.
All right,
Don't
Simon.
don't
Simon, can
digress.
I ask you a question, Simon, about the movie? Can I ask you a
Yeah,
question about the movie? So
yeah.
why did Candy whatever his name was the white dude Leonardo DiCaprio? Why did he told a story about how he owned um the black Samuel Jackson's father and grandfather? They've been in it. They owned them for generations. So how was he the slave owner
Because
when they was telling that
because
story?
because by that time I believe it kind of switched because what they showed us in that movie was a very small clip. I
Uh,
think it was a 5 or 8 second photo.
so I'm cool with that because you start off by saying you believe, which means you have no evidence. This is just your opinion. I'm cool with that.
Well, are you cool with this though? That there was two different types of so-called black folks, or there was two different melanated people over here? According to that movie, if we going off that movie, I'm not a C. And the ones that had a piece of paper wasn't they was freedmen. They might have been
So that's
from this
not.
one, knew how to speak English.
So those are two different blacks. Those are some are enslaved and some are free. They're the same black people though. They just have a different social status.
So you're saying that there was different statuses over here. I'm saying that there was different classes. I mean, there was different lineage of people. So we agreeing
They're
that there
not.
was some type of separation going on that they did not tell us about in the history.
No, they told you. They told you there was free people and there was enslaved people. That has nothing to do with their lineage, bro. Stop it.
So you saying that there's two different people over here?
No, I didn't say that. I in fact said they're the same people. Just one is free and one is enslaved.
Okay,
That's
so
what I
you saying the
said.
free people didn't go take their ass back home and want to be around their
Some of them
family and
did.
shit?
Some of them did. Some of them
Ask
been
me
here so
one time. Can
long
you
they
name that
don't know
time in
about
any time in
African.
history? And see, that's why I'm trying to say there was two different type of people, and that's
All
why a
right,
lot of
I'm
these
gonna name you a time in
Africans.
history when black people want to go black. Go look up the Boston Plan. That's in the 1780s. All right, this is black people in Rhode Island doing their own shit, and this is way before the ACS. There is no white influence. You can go look at that.
Okay, you said in Boston. I'm wondering when was slavery in Boston?
It's called the Boston Plan.
I did not ask you that. I did not know slavery was up north. I thought it was a down south thing. Can
No,
you bring me
slavery
evidence
was
of
in
slavery
every
up north?
colony, brother. Yes, we can look at New York. You got the Gradual Emancipation Act passed in 1799. By the time 1827 comes, most of the black people are free. At the end of like I think 1842, the rest of them are free. So you got Gradual Emancipation Act in Philly, Jersey, Connecticut, Rhode Island, all these things, bro.
Sir,
So
I'm
Gradual
asking you, can you
Emancipation.
please show me slaves up north back then, the times you talking about?
I just did. I told you about the Gradual Emancipation Act. Now, if you want even further, so what would happen with the Emancipation Act? Women was free at 23, men at 25. So what they did was register their Negro children that was being born enslaved. So you can go look at these registrations so they can keep track of the age, right? You start seeing
I
them in
like
New
how you
York in
said
1799.
that. Is slavery
So that
now
they can
see?
get free at the time of their proper age.
Now see, that's what I'm trying to say. You're cutting out money and companies because they got free. Enslaved did not get free. That's a term of indentured servitude, bro. That's not slavery.
That's not true. You just made that up. It is slavery.
That's a contract, bro. You said in a
No, it's not a
contract, this person
contract.
is done with their
No,
contract
no,
at
no,
23.
no.
Can
It's
I
not a
get done? I
contract,
just need
brother.
to get done. I'm just gonna tell you what you said.
Yeah.
And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Let me just get done. You said it was a contract that the women got done at 20 something and the men got done at 25. That's not slavery.
I
That's a
never said it was a
contract.
contract.
That's
No, it's
just
not. All right.
commerce.
Okay.
Are you
Hold up,
done?
I'm
Can
y'all.
almost
I
done
Hold
though.
up.
See, you don't gotta cut me off, my brother. I'm almost done. Giving you my understanding of what you're saying. That's not
That's what
slavery
y'all do.
forever.
Y'all
Like
love giving your
Okay.
understanding.
Okay. Hold up. Breathe,
to
y'all. I'm gonna let Root Words finish, and
where
then Root Word
people
gonna mute
only
his
work until
mic.
like 25. I
I'm
digress.
gonna. Okay, he's digressing. All right. Now, not a coincidence. You respond, and then after you,
Yeah.
I want y'all to answer my question because I haven't had a chance to ask the part of my question I need to ask.
All right,
So go
thank you,
ahead.
Sister Becky. I'll be very quick. So it's not
Okay.
a contract. In a contract, you have negotiations between two sides. So when we see these indentured servant contracts, they would negotiate for land and money at the end of at the end of their servitude. They would by law they was protected to have certain clothing, housing, food, um, and things like that. These gradual emancipation people who got free.
That's not
Uh,
slavery.
I know. I was just talking about indentured
Slavery, they was
servants.
raping
Now you're
mothers.
getting it. Listen, exactly.
Slavery, they was raping
I
mothers,
was
bro.
just, brother.
Slavery, they was
You asked
raping
me not to
mothers.
cut you off. You asked me not to cut you off. I didn't.
My fault.
Right.
My fault. My
So
fault.
I just gave you the contract side, the indentured servant. You're right. That's not slavery. So I'm glad we agree with that. These people who are being gradually emancipated, they come from generations of people being enslaved, right? Their mother was enslaved, their fathers, their grandmothers. That's how they inherited this status because in 1662, the child takes the condition of the mother. And it's been like that up until the abolition of slavery. I mean, the
And like
emancipation.
Hawk School said, and you just said that all through the North, them people was let go at 23 and 25. That's not slavery.
Brother, they passed the
Brother,
gradual
was they getting let
emancipation
go? I'm
act.
asking you a
Are you
simple
slow?
question. I'm asking you
It's
a
not a
simple question.
contract.
So,
It's not a contract.
sir, I'm asking you a simple question.
It is not a contract, brother.
I'm asking you a simple question so I can separate slavery from indentured servitude.
Are you
Did
listening?
them
It's not a
people get
contract.
released? Did them people's contract get up at 23 and 25?
It's not a contract, brother. It
Then
was an
what is
act.
it
It's a
then?
law passed. It's a law passed to end slavery in New York. It's not a contract. Stop trying to make your own shit up.
Now, okay, now I'm asking you this. You said slavery ended. Did that put in indentured servitude?
No, slavery is involuntary. Indentured
So
servitude is
where does this
voluntary,
23 and
brother.
25-year-old come up, my brother? You brought up that these people up north was doing this until they was 23 and until they was 25. That's not slavery.
Brother, they are enslaved. You never heard of this.
Got
You never
you.
heard of this.
Got
Okay.
you.
Okay. 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 That made some good sense. But here's the question I gotta ask: the ball buster, the Europeans that was here, the black ones, are they all gone from when they got kicked out, or are they still here? That's my question.
They never existed.
Oh my god. I, okay,
They did
somebody else.
exist.
Somebody else go. Okay, your thoughts, root words. I thought we kicked out black Europeans, and I wanted to know when we kicked them out, did we kick all of them out, or are they still here? Some folks are saying they're still here, and some folks are their descendants here.
I think them descendants came back home. They got kicked out of Europe. I think it's
But
called the War of the Roses, but I don't know.
so
I'm not sure.
we didn't kick them out. Root words.
I'm not understanding that. I ain't saying we didn't, but I'm not under like.
Okay,
What do you mean, like?
so
Yeah.
supposedly, okay. So what we've been taught here in YouTube and reading after the Revolutionary War, they were ordered to leave. And they're supposed to be these black Europeans that we kicked out after the Revolutionary War. Some people call them British nobles, some people call them just black Europeans. When we kicked them out, did we kick them all out or are they still here? That's my question.
Uh, I think all they mothers got murdered, and yes, they're still here. I don't think it was the Europeans. I think that was the last of our empire or our tribes united. Yeah, if you put it during them times, that's when they came in power. That's when the Indian nations failed. So if they took some of them to England and Europe, okay, fine. But yeah, I think that was all of our fault. My opinion of it, but I digress. And yes, the descendants are here. Yes.
Oh boy, this is getting real funky, root words. Anybody else have a take on that? I mean, literally, were these that's the question
Yeah,
that's really
I think
my
they're in
mind.
entertainment. I think the descendants are entertainers, sports figures, politicians, ministers. That's where I think they all sitting at.
So are you saying that that's us? Because all I see in the churches running these churches is uh
Mhm.
people that look to be Negroes uh in our hoods. Well, now, the churches are in our hoods. I mean, this is mind boggling. I thought for sure that we kicked them all out of here, that their numbers wasn't so big that we couldn't kick them out. Word, okay. Were the British, yes or no? Root words. Were the British and Smoke and Ali Bamu, and I don't know who's going to answer this question. Were the British that was here, the British nobles, were they black Europeans?
No.
They were white men, correct?
Yes.
It was the Midwest, man.
Were they white men or
British
were they,
come from my fault, my
no,
fault.
where go? Were they white men or were they black nobles?
Indians. That's what
I'd
they
say they were
was.
black
Then
nobles.
they had a location in the Iroquois
Oh
area
man.
of the Big Ten, and because that's where the British come from, the Brutus, the Brutus Buckeye and the Northwest Territory. That if we're gonna use Indian, fine, I don't mind using that word. The Indian Territory that covered from
Wait a
it's just called
minute.
that's just it's the
Mm-mm.
Northwest Territory. That's the British
Oh my
Empire.
god. Oh my
But
god, you're killing me.
but
Are
they
you
call that land over there Albion. That's the land of Alba until the late 1700s. But I digress.
This shit is getting crazy. The British nobles that supposedly came here, uh, that were sent here from the Queen, and they came with all these damn uh indentured servants and slaves. You're saying that they were Indians now. How is that possible if the Queen sent them?
Oh, I'm gonna get you on
Now I'm
this one.
asking. No, I'm
No, I'm
asking
giving
you.
you good knowledge. I'm not meaning mean. I'm
Anybody
saying
else?
something that I just learned.
Anybody could
Something I
step
just
in.
learned. Something I just learned.
Okay.
The
Oh,
East
okay.
Indian
Go.
British Corporation. And we know that the East Indians wasn't around. We know that right then at the time you're talking about the British Indian Corporation. But they're going to take that fucking marvelous Indian shit and put it to the Hindustan. Now that's dealing with the Indians over here and the British Empire. But I
No,
digress.
I've never heard of the British
You've never
that
heard of
came
the British
here from.
Indian Corporation.
No, no. What I'm saying, I've never heard of the British that were sent here to oversee the indentured servants and slaves they brought here were from India. I never heard.
I'm
That's the first
saying
time
that
I've ever heard.
that land has never been called India until 1948. I'm glad that the true Indians brought that out. So if the true Indians got to understand that that place over there is Hindustan, what was that group that was dealing with the British in the 1500s called the British East Indian Corporation. I just take the East off of it. I place it in Indiana and around them areas. I digress. Shit.
So you're saying that those Brits were really Aboriginal Indians now? Is this what I'm
Somehow
hearing?
we was doing something with them. Now my opinion might not be the correct opinion. I'm just trying to say I could put them together. I could put both of them people together. That's all. So it's a good discussion. I digress.
Okay, Dakota's saying something that makes sense. Dakota's saying that Britain invaded 90% of the globe. I can believe that because they're colonizing everywhere. But root words, how are you going to make people that the Queen sent from England to here Indians? How can you make them Aboriginal Indians here?
I'm gonna say it one more time. This is really fresh information to me because I'm starting to study the unification of certain words. So if you don't want to use a certain word, you take a certain word.
Use your words. Use your words, Root. We're not gonna cut though here. I want to hear it. Go.
Talk about the great British Empire, and you cannot British Empire without talking about the Indian Corporation. Now, if you want to put it over there in Hindustan, and I ain't talking about you
breaking up. You breaking up. Fix your mic, Root word.
Am I still breaking up?
That's better. Don't move around.
I'm about to say, geez.
Okay.
Now I'm saying that when we talk about the British Empire, you got to connect some sort of Indian to it, because the only way the British Empire went around the world is through the Indian Corporation. Now, some people put it over there to East India, which I know there wasn't no East India until 1948. That shit was Hindu, Handu, Houdunu, whatever it's called. So where else we gonna put the Indians and the British too? Now, I ain't saying that my interpretation is all the way accurate like I usually be confident on. I'm just trying to say it's something good to spread that Indian greatness around the world. Shit, but I digress, man. I digress.
Okay, I'm confused. Anybody want to tackle that? Because that just threw me all off. That threw me off. Now you see why I stay so confused. What say you to that, Alabama, Smoke, Simon, Isness, Bap?
I think it's just a good conversation. I'm not all the way right. I just know that you can connect that British and the Indians to some whole bunch of ships that was around the world. That's all I'm saying. Nothing else.
But I mean, I guess I'm just like mind boggled when you say that the British nobles that the Queen sent over here with to oversee the indentured servants and slaves are now Aboriginal Indians. How is that possible? We kicked them out after the war. I'm confused.
I just think that they had Aboriginal ships. Shit. I'm impressed.
You're not being clear. What? Anybody else want to tackle that? Because I'm not gonna mess with it right now until I go back. Because we're bugging right now. Is this why the definition says this? Bap, you got it. I mean, I
was
mean,
just saying peace and love to everybody on the panel, man. Peace and love, peace and blessings. Shout out to the real ones.
Peace.
Hey, is this why it's saying but now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America? Root word. Is this what you're telling me?
Do they not have to say what they are going to do? Whether you call it predictive programming or even a liar must tell the truth while lying.
Interesting. After being on with them dudes last night,
stole the identity.
So is this what?
But the definition is telling you that. You see that right in the definition. They told you they would be identity thieves, and their descendants would continue perpetuating that. Why is it we keep arguing over this?
Right.
Fact.
Right there.
This is a fact.
Oh no, I'm not arguing over it. It's just that panel I was on at 3:00 this morning. The stuff that the guy was saying on the panel that I was on this morning. I was trolling.
Who? Q Butters?
No, 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 not Q Butters. I don't know who the fuck the dude's. I'm gonna go back and look. But the dude said that he was German. He looked just like me. And the other dude said that he looked like me. He said he was fucking German. And then the other guy said he
Did
was
they speak
Irish.
English? Did they speak English like us?
Yo, they Negroes from here. I can
They
tell.
not no fucking German.
And but check this out. He said that we are the ones that the Queen kicked out of England and may come here as indentured servants and slaves. And when we finish our servitude, that we got land over here. That's why you seen so
when
many
when
thousands
when
of black farmers. This shit was freaking me out, and then it took me back to reading
you
this
know what's
fucking.
funny about that? Because there was no king in charge in the early 1700s. There was a monarch in place in Britain.
Well, he's saying that we are. He's saying that we are the ones that got kicked out,
Yeah, but
and
he
that's
can't say
why.
that we. You see, he's wrong because he's saying the queen did it. So he got a unaltered form of history. You see what I'm saying? There was a monarch in place. You know, Queen
Man, that
Elizabeth.
was so deep, Aboriginal power, man. That was the deepest. People might not even still understand what that means, man. I swear.
But Rootwork, you sound what you said. You sound like you agree
Hey,
with me
sister, be
just by
look
what
at
you
the chat
explained.
where it's SOL. SOEL said, or wrote rather.
I know that they have false times of history, and it's hard to catch unless you're on top of it. And I just think that Aboriginal power just caught a time in history, and he went through it properly. And you know what I'm saying? It's not easy to do, but it's very easy when you catching it. And that's like erasing them imaginary lines in America's states, and it's like erasing that imaginary line around Hindustan that they call India now. So I just think he erased that imaginary line. But I let him speak for himself.
But you
When
still
you're
sound.
posting that comment, Queen Mother, do you understand that comment's reference?
I I saw a document that I believe Nati shared a couple of years ago, and I'm wondering if this is the same document.
What do we know the denouncement of the document discovery to be today in 2023 when y'all declared, and I keep pointing this out for us to
Yeah,
whether
we need to
we
get that guy,
realize it
whoever.
or not, that was declared by y'all saying Pan-Africanism was dead the day before, without your awareness, coincidence or not. The day before, March 30th, the Pope did what?
Denounced the doctrine of discovery.
So what is that comment referring to?
What you're saying.
I put the document in the back.
All right. Let me get it.
Now, so what are these general civil orders, Isness, that you're sharing with Queen Mother?
Well, actually, it's Sowell's who wanted her to look at it, so I found it and I just put it back there. So I didn't read the whole thing.
All right, let me get it up.
And
Getting it up
Bethy,
right now.
as the government contractor that you have been for a good, I don't want to date you because it's not nice to ask a woman's age directly, but general services, the contracting of general services is what you will bring up in that document. I'll let you massage it a bit there and
Somebody else
explain
can
to
read it
me.
because I'm not gonna lose my voice. But I
Yeah.
got it up right here.
Well, Isness can be, giving us clarity there. But do you
She
see
gotta
what
put
it
her
says
glasses on.
you see what it says there at the top?
General civil orders. I want to see who wrote this, if y'all don't mind. Me go
This was
first.
supposedly packaged by Anna von Reitz, or Anna von Reitz, if you know who she is.
Anna Marie
Anna Marie.
Wilhelmina Hannah Sophia Razor Von Redstein Von Leto Vorbeck non-negotiable order. Is this even Judge James? Wait a minute. Joint Chiefs of Staff. What?
You do need to understand this, whether you agree with it or not. This is what they, upsquatulating crackers, tell each other. But go ahead, sisters. Y'all chop it up.
I don't. I've never seen this. This is not the document that Nadi showed. Go ahead, y'all got it.
Just
Y'all
look
go
at what
read
the
it.
first couple of paragraphs are described, because it's too small on my screen. Go ahead, Isness.
I'll read it. Okay, it says at the federal level, the American government has always been a separate foreign international maritime jurisdiction operated under contract to provide two services: one, protect the national trust assets, and two, perform governmental services for the several states, which in terms of international law are all recognized sovereign nations. The equity contract known as the Constitution for the United States of America. United is not capitalized. I don't know
It's
why. Makes
lowercase, and you need to
right.
understand what's significant about that. Go ahead, sister.
Mm.
The Constitution for the United States of America makes it clear that the several states contracted to form a single governmental services agency known as the United States. The contract stipulates the assets to be held in trust by the federal government in the preamble and Bill of Rights comprising the trust indenture portions of the contract, and also stipulates the 19 enumerated services to be performed and exactly what quote unquote powers the states agreed to delegate to the United States and how they would pay for these services. What isn't so widely known or appreciated is that the governmental services company known as the United States was a privately owned and operated commercial company set up by Benjamin Franklin in 1754. George Washington was actually the 11th quote unquote president of this company and only the first president to take office after the receipt of the quote unquote Constitution contract.
Could we pause just for a moment, Queen Mother?
Wait a
Do you
minute.
understand the significance of
Correct.
what's being suggested?
No, and I need to read that again. This is mind fucking blowing. I need to know who these people are on the bottom signing this. I had to look them up. This shit is
And that's really
crazy.
like what he's saying. I mean, I know I like the word more, but them other 10 presidents was Indians, goddamn, with autographs.
Now, Soel, who has shared this through Isness, if you hadn't seen their latest comments they're making, they claim that they use this in the court structure. But go back to rereading how many presidents and what is this corporate relationship business that you just described in that paragraph.
To I think it's a little bit lower. Single government agency. I think you got to go down a little bit more. No. Am I missing something? All right, I'm just gonna reread. What isn't so widely known or appreciated is that the governmental services company known as the United
I'm
States
sorry.
was
I apologize. Can we read this from the beginning again so I
Or
could?
okay.
appreciate it.
Shit is. Thank you. I would appreciate it. I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay, so this is issued to all members of the domestic police forces, U.S. Marshal Services, the Provost Marshal, members of the American Bar Association, and the American Armed Services. At the federal level, the American government has always been a separate foreign international maritime jurisdiction operated under contract to provide two services: one, protect the national trust assets, and two, perform governmental services for the several states, which in terms of international law are all recognized sovereign nations. The equity contract known as the Constitution for the United States of America makes it clear that the several states contracted to form a single governmental services agency known as quote unquote the United States. The contract stipulates the assets to be held in trust by the federal government in the preamble and Bill of Rights, comprising in whoa. Am I messing something up? the United States. The contract stipulates the assets to be held
Yep.
in trust by the federal government in the preamble and Bill of Rights comprising the trust indenture portion of the contract, and also stipulates the 19 enumerated services to be performed and exactly what quote unquote powers the states agreed to delegate to the United States and how they would pay for these services.
Pause just a minute there. Now, the 19 enumerated services, do you understand what that means, Sister Bethany?
Not very clear, but it sounds to me from what she's reading, and I need to take this and go read it in my own silence. But what it sounds like to me is that it's almost like having a manager come over and oversee something for a temporary period of time. And they were put here to manage specific services.
Now, that's a good way to approach that because I'm
19
going to take you to another level on that
enumerated form.
same concept that you said. But I want you to understand this lady who is German, you see that, von Reitz, is stating that these enumerated services were contracted for the federal entity to provide the several states, which are capitalized. And why do you know United being lowercase as a preferred use of language? What do you understand in grammar lowercase mean as opposed to uppercase?
Well, lower you capitalize
United States.
anything.
Pay
Go ahead, y'all
for
got it.
these services. Pretty
I
deep.
think somebody's just having a
You're
I'd like to know
conversation
what
with their
these
mic
19 enumerated
unmuted.
services
Could
are.
you mute your mic, brother? Because we
That
can
are to
hear
be
you.
for this is what we have to owe them.
Or maybe he's reading and not hearing that we can hear him. The issue is why United is lowercase and states, the several states, are uppercase. In
Because it's
that
just telling you,
context, go ahead.
well, at that particular, it's not a name, it's not a title. It's just telling you that it's united. It's the united of the several states
And
to
therefore the several
form,
states are the authority, correct?
right? But
And
they're
the
going to form
United,
Okay,
another company. Yeah.
so oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, you guys.
Well, I was just going to finish. They're forming another company, right, with an oversight called the United States.
and you do need to understand the complexities and confusions that are called by these different levels of bankruptcy, uppercase, lowercase, United States of or for America, two separate different constitutions, maybe a third. Essentially, the one in 1789 is supposed to be the organic, and the original contract you just heard in her reading was supposedly outlining specific duties that the federal government would be paid or contracted to do in behalf of the several states. Now, if no one else has got, or anyone else has a different understanding of that, if you want to go back
I
to that part of the
I have a
paragraph.
question. Well, I have a question with like the not capitalizing the United.
Hmm.
Because it sounds to me if the United's not capitalized, and I'm just thinking because I have racing thoughts right now, uh, that that the United States was done illegally.
Now, put a pin just for a moment on
I,
that. I
I,
agree with you, but let me explain to you why it's
I
different in this regard. It is substandard or subservient. You follow what I'm saying? In other words, the federal entity that's being created shall be submissive to the several states. You follow me? That's what's
yes,
incorporated in the understated lower case. Now, when it gets criminalized in 1871, because you do know they created a second constitution, right? In
yes.
1871, there are all caps appellations that got us where today in the 21st century. So now the federal has then supplanted the authority of the several states. You see what I'm getting at now, Queen Mother?
But hey, who
Yes.
was them other 10? Who was them other 10 presidents?
Well, root words, you have to get with dealing with people who talk their mythology, meaning the Moors, and claiming they had other
I
presidents
didn't.
prior to George
No, I thought
Washington.
that's what they were
But
saying.
no, no, let me finish. But I was actually answering you. I'm not in agreement or disagreement. I'm saying when you hear people say these things, remember this is an absquatulating European German saying this now. And this document that she's referencing is what was supposedly handed between Pope Francis and Barack Hussein Obama. You understand what I'm saying, Queen Mother? This alleged
Yeah.
document that this so-called white European woman is sharing amongst these rebels who are thinking they're going to recreate another republic. See, y'all need to understand there's parallel shit going on here. The people operating thinking they have authority they never had. But I'm just trying to give you some ideas to understand how it is they think and what they think is authority. You understand what I'm saying, Sister Bethy? That's why I defer to your legal expertise. So the upper and lower case using of language is whether or not a thing, a person, or an entity has authority. That's what uppercase does. It acknowledges a live person when your name is in upper and lower case, right? As far as legal documents,
Who
Queen
gave
Mother. But all capital
them
letters, let me land on this, Ruth. All capital letters are a fictitious entity in corporate and commercial law. Is that correct, Queen Mother?
Yes.
That's what we have to keep in mind while we read this document. Y'all got it.
Okay.
Wait, can
So,
I ask a question?
go
And the
ahead. Go.
document
Go.
says, I
Because
thought
I'm
the
trying to
document
figure out.
says that they had several seats um, that got granted to them. I'm trying to say that we granted
Your
them
words with Mike messing.
several.
Rootwell, your mic is messed up, honey.
So my question is, I don't know who brought this up, but what makes this official document is from a woman who calls herself a judge that's not a judge, some white lady from Alaska, and she's selling sovereign paperwork. I don't know what makes this official.
I mean, you are right. There's no official heading, and usually that's the first thing that you look for. It has to be on a
Yeah.
letterhead,
It
and I don't
looks
see a
very
letterhead.
suspicious.
Yeah.
That's why I said, wait a minute. It looks very suspicious. It doesn't look like any. I mean, even if it's from another country, you're going to see some kind of logo. But this is like just some plain fucking piece of paper.
That's
And
why you would have to look it up
She
in the
wrote it
records
herself.
from the papal bulls and from Pope Francis because a document was brought. Not only this, let me remind you of one simple thing in
wait a minute.
facts in the news. When he came here and interacted with the President of the United States, within a week of his leaving, the Speaker of the House, John Boehner, resigned. You don't remember that, Queen Mother?
Yeah, but how does that make this document real?
I'm not talking about whether or not this particular document is authentic or has any legal bearing. I'm saying
You
to
just
you
going in about the
there are facts in recorded history
document.
that the Pope did visit here, did meet with Barack Hussein Obama, did meet with the Speaker of the House and the Congress because he spoke in the well of both the House and the Senate. And after he left, the Catholic Speaker of the House, John Boehner, resigned. And that has never happened in the history of the governance of the United Snakes of America. But y'all got it.
Okay. Is this a rough draft? Because it appears that there's no state.
Here's the point that I'm stressing, Queen Mother.
I,
The
I,
issue is, are there a contract relationship between the federal created entity and the several states? That's one thing. The second thing is whether the preamble and the Constitution enumerates and outlines what those responsibilities are as they suggested certain 19 services. And in addition, there's another level to this that those services were paid not to the federal entity, but to the British Crown through the IRS and other tributaries that have extracted what should not be coming out of Indians not taxed. But y'all chop it up.
okay. All right. Here's what I'm going to say first. Number one, this shit is written in red ink, which is very weird. Um, I've never seen anything written like this. Copies too. I mean, I could type up something and send copies to it. Then they have some logo over here with their signatures on them, as though it's coming from another, what is it, Russian country or whatever, German country. I mean, I think I at this point in the game, I'm looking at this document as
Okay.
fraud, false.
I put her website in the back chat.
I
And you can take a look
Hey,
at
is
her
that the
website
doctrine
and
of
just see.
discovery though?
Well,
oh
the
my
Pope
god.
really did
Y'all
meet
know
with
what?
the
Okay,
Exactly.
I'm fucking
That's,
done.
that's what I was looking at.
This is some bullshit. All right. I know this fucking lady. Let me tell you who this bitch is.
She's a crazy person.
Okay. Let me tell you who this bitch is. I'm about to show y'all. She has a podcast that comes on every Monday. She's a fucking senior lady that has nothing else to do with her fucking life. And she just sits on and talk. She comes on at 9 o'clock every week on Monday. And she sits up and talks shit about telling people how to become how to get
sovereign.
people to become nationals and of their own specific state that they were born in. So now I know who this is. This old bitch. She's an old lady. She's nobody. She even wrote
Hey,
a
that
book, and
document might be fake.
it's
My
fake as
fault.
fuck. I'm
It's
gonna
not
show
might
you.
be.
But
Hold
no, I'm
up.
just trying to take
Uh,
the source though. It goes to the source though. I ain't gonna.
So
I'm just
that's
y'all
what
saying
you
got
that.
it.
call
I'd say
Y'all,
that.
that's what you call building off a false premise, right? You take something like this, and then you create this whole story, and you bring up certain things that might be real, like you keep saying he
it's
he,
not.
he
I'll
resigned
be right
after a
back,
week.
y'all.
No, no, no.
Hey,
This is how you
smoke.
build a false premise.
Keep the piano calm. Add power and smoke. Keep it calm. I'll be right back. Y'all got it.
Yeah, so this is how you build a false premise. You use something fake, and then you add some real life things to it, and you just create these conspiracy theories on top of it, on top of it. That's what we just seen. We seen this old
Now,
white lady
not a
sitting in
coincidence.
last year,
Do you
and
say
he
that
just
these white
reciting it
people
word for
who are
word.
creating these conspiracy theories, are they operating government on this land?
She's not operating any
I
government.
didn't say her. I said
Well,
in
I'm dealing
general.
with her
Are
because
you,
that's who you brought to us.
the question I'm asking
I
you
don't like
is
I don't
not
like talking.
the white people that are creating these conspiracy theories, whether you agree with them or not. Alex Jones,
Y'all,
Roger
I mean,
Stone,
y'all create conspiracy
Stephen
theories.
Bannon, these people
Y'all,
all traffic in the same conspiracy theories. The question I'm asking you, do they operate government on this land? In particular, one example I just gave you was Stephen Bannon. Was he not literally in the White House as the counselor to the President of the United States?
I mean, you didn't bring us something
Mm,
Stephen Bannon wrote, so
yeah,
you
this
didn't bring
is
us
this
something
is
that he
not what
wrote.
Stephen Bannon does. This is something really different. This
It-
is just some
It's some
person who
old
said,
white lady sitting in the middle
yeah.
of Alaska, just talking
Just
shit.
just because neither of you maybe have done research, this is the exact same thing that Stephen Bannon, Alex Jones, and others traffic in daily.
You ever seen 2012,
Whether you follow the QAnon community,
the
whether
crazy
you have
guy on the radio?
researched
That's her.
4chan and 8chan channels, whether you have taken it upon yourself to research your white slave masters, not a coincidence. I can't direct you to do that.
No,
I'm
the white people is
asking
your
you
master
I'm
teacher. You brought this
asking
old white lady
you,
trying to teach
I'm
us something.
asking you, not a coincidence.
She
If
taught you
these
something. You trying
people,
to teach us something.
I'm asking you, not a coincidence. If these
One mic,
people
y'all.
who
One mic.
traffic in conspiracy theories are operating government on this land, that's the question I asked you. Yes or no?
White people are not the only people that come up with conspiracy theories.
Did I use the term
You
white
just,
people? I see you divert to that right quickly because
I
you
could have
seem to
sworn
have
you
a
said
thing
white
about
people.
white
If you didn't
people.
say white,
I said
I'm sorry. If you didn't
people
say
No, he
who
didn't
white,
say white person
trafficking
at all. He
in
didn't say white at
conspiracy
all.
theories. I said people who are trafficking.
yeah,
Then I named
people.
certain
Yeah,
individuals. I said people who are trafficking in conspiracy theories. Are they operating government on this land? That's what I asked you, not a coincidence.
Okay.
well, I don't know everybody's
All
governmental
right. Let me
governmental
chop this.
ideology.
Let me chop this old ass fake lady up for y'all, and I'm gonna show y'all as chief what I be going through and having to agree that people leave my fucking tribe or that they should just voluntarily go. That same bitch that wrote that document, right? And, you know, when you're building a nation, you have to let all the bad leaves fall off. One of my tribe members, I'm not going to say any names, and this is very recent. This was this year. This is the same bitch. She wrote the book and gave instructions. Am I lying? Is that her name?
Anna Von Reitz, you're correct, Queen Mother.
All right. They sent me this book, and I'm like, this shit does not apply to us. Look at the book. Certain pages. She give you instructions on how to do it. I don't know who this fucking lady is, but this is her book. So, me, I tell people, fucking go. This is not for us. This is not what I want. You have to. This is why I said I have to protect our people. First, it was people that came with the Moorish paperwork that I had to run their asses out my tribe. No offense, root word. And now I got somebody who's not a Moor. Send me this in the mail. Purchased it for me, which was very nice, but this is shit I'm not into. In these communities, you guys, we have to be very careful. I don't give a fuck. That document is false on every corner. That woman sat up and wrote it, and she probably sent it out to government. That's the type of shit she does. She has a podcast every Monday. And so, people are like, well, she's white, she's not black, so she's not a Moor, so it must be right. No, I don't give a fuck who it is. This is why I have to protect our people.
As you should, Queen
The
Mother.
ancestors are very good. You see how that worked? I didn't even know what this girl was talking about in the chat room, this young lady, if that's a lady.
You
Because
talking
you
about
never know who.
SOEL, who
Yeah,
claims to use these documents in their courts. And again, people can make any claim they want to. But the only point that I was bringing it up, as I asked, not a coincidence, do not these type of people run government on our land with our oversight, without our participation, and they are selling this shit to each other as we speak daily.
No,
And I
no, no,
also
no. They're
mentioned
not.
that, hold on, listeners. Alex Jones, Roger Stone, and Steve Bannon all traffic in this stuff as we speak. And Steve Bannon
Oh,
actually
I'm
was
not.
in the White
Wait a minute.
House.
Before you go any further, are you saying that they traffic this kind of shit?
Yes, ma'am, they
I,
do. And if you don't research, and I know you don't,
I,
if you
well,
don't
wait,
research the
wait.
QAnon community, if you don't follow those
Okay.
8chan and 4chan channels, this is how they speak to themselves and amongst each other. That's all I was saying.
Okay.
But go ahead.
All right. So what I'm saying is, I'm not going to sit on my channel and accuse people like Steve Banner, because I know who he is, and other Republicans I know that you don't like, of doing this. Because number one, this isn't Steve Banner. It's Anna who wrote this shit. And I'm not going to put this on politicians. I'm not going to sit on my panel and blame that on them. I'm not going to do such a thing. I'm not.
the my good
I
queen mother,
agree.
I get
You
what
try
you're
to put
saying. I agree with your position. Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert, just two members of Congress, are actual QAnon acolytes. That's the only point
Okay,
that I'm making.
so without
Okay,
getting
that's
into the
fine. But
weeds,
I just want to make it clear for the record and everyone watching that I am not accusing any politicians currently serving on Congress about this bullshit national paperwork. So they got the black version of this bullshit, which are orchestrated by dirty Moors. It's better to say that right word, because there's good Moors and there's dirty Moors, right? All right. So you have your black version of people pushing this national paperwork, and you have your white version of it. And this is exactly who I see Anna
Exactly.
as. The bitch don't
Exactly.
show her, she doesn't show her face, or she's an old lady that comes on and it's just a podcast and her instructing thousands of people. So I'm advising you not to get involved with that shit. I don't care if it's from a dirty Moor or a white lady that nobody fucking sees that's an old lady and retired. Stay away from it.
There was some
Y'all
young
got
guy
it.
who
That's
was pulled
all I
over
was
by the
saying. I was
police.
saying the same thing.
There's a young guy who was pulled over by police, and he was talking that stuff, that sovereign, their version of sovereignty, and the police killed him. The poor kid.
See,
So yeah.
see, that's terrible.
But I do want to say this. It is a great illustration, Alabama, on how people create documents and put it out there and try to push it off on us as official. And this is what we're trying to go through when we go through the past and we're trying to figure out what is our real story, because people have created documents and stories and fantasies and pushed it upon us. And so now we have to go back and reconstruct what is real and what is fake.
I agree with that too. I do too. We have to get to the bottom of, are these people operating illegally? And if so, what can we as the people do about it?
But see, this is my point, Queen. They are all operating illegally. And when it is not clearly understood what the Constitution is and who it is referencing and who is the authority behind it, you follow what I'm saying, Queen? I am suggesting these absquatulating bastards keep convincing themselves that they operate lawfully, not legally. See, people don't understand the
Okay.
difference between
So
what's
okay,
lawful
so
and what's legal.
what we need to do is you need to provide us with the proof of their illegal operation.
The Constitution proves that, Queen Mother. Number one, remember, okay, let me just say this and I'm gonna just step back. I asked you, and we're still working on this. Who is a legitimate citizen from 1790? Where are those courts? Where are the applications that were provided? And who proved themselves to be of good moral character and not an alien enemy to the American? Therefore, from that point forward, everything is illegal. You understand what I'm saying, Queen Mother? Plus, and then the issue of lawfulness, and I'll land my plane on this. Inside the Constitution, remember, Isthmus, we went over this. To be a member of Congress or a House of Representative elected, you must be 25 years of age and 7 years a resident in the United States as a U.S. citizen, which you obviously could not be at the same time something is created. Would you agree? So in the Constitution, every member of Congress prior to 1800 were illegal according to the Constitution. They were unlawfully operating governance. And according to that document that we briefly shared, they were operating as servants to the several states that we call colonies. But who are the actual states, not the colonies? You follow me, Queen Mother? This is what gets convoluted when discussing these things. Who are
I
the
do
actual
follow
states and
you.
who are the
I
lands?
do follow you, but my segment is getting a little redirected here from when I first called folks on the panel. And I really, really want to get back to that before I do the redirect at 6:30 to app. I want to know if these Europeans, I'm not understanding them to be Indians. How are they Europe? I
Well, it
thought we
can't be
kicked
if
them
they're
out.
European, right? You're
Well,
from a
well, well,
different country, right?
right. I thought we kicked them out. And my question was, are they still here? Or is it that they're
But Queen Mother, when you
descendants?
say kick
Or
them
is it
out,
that they're,
when you
well,
say kick them out, was that the
after the
American
Revolutionary
Revolutionary
War?
War? Okay,
Yes, yes.
okay.
I thought we kicked them out. And if we didn't,
Well,
are
then
their
that's why my
descendants still?
question still is pertinent.
I
Citizenship
didn't
is the
finish
issue.
asking my question. I didn't finish. After the Revolutionary War, did we kick them out? We're supposedly had kicked them out. And if we kicked them out, is it because their descendants are still here, that maybe they had babies with our people that's here? And um I'm sure when they were here, they owned property, these nobles. They own lands.
Okay, if
And
I'm not mistaken, A1 says in the Great Law of Peace, no foreigner can own land. Period.
Unless
So
it's sold by a
who could have
chief.
been owning land?
Unless it's sold by a chief.
How could you
They
sell
could own
something you can't own?
the chief unless it's sold by a chief. It
I
was
got
my
that.
understanding that the individual Indians that were part of specific tribes couldn't sell it, but their chief could. This is what I'm told. The individual Indian couldn't sell it, but the chief of their tribe could sell the land.
So
Am I
which
right
law
there?
are we saying is the okay? When we
Tribal law. We're
discuss these
talking
things,
tribal law
so
now.
then tribal law, do you consider that like nature's law as the law of God? You know, you know this in the legal world. What do they consider nature's law?
Well, they have their own government, so obviously it's just tribal law is tribal law. It's like same, no different than the United States law, but only it's from a tribal perspective. That, and at that time, our tribes was in a relationship with a government, but the government didn't have any jurisdiction over our tribes, even when they
But even
um
under tribal law, they could not sell the land.
the chiefs could, is what I'm telling you. Because if that's not the case, how the fuck did they get Tennessee? The chief sold the land. Am I not right?
No, I hear what you're
I,
saying, Prima, because I don't want to sound like I'm being belligerent. Okay.
no, I don't
Because
think you're being
it's a
belligerent.
semantical
I,
argument. What I'm
I'm
saying is that no matter what we think things are, we cannot sell dirt. Now we could put a piece of paper, call it a contract, claim there's a transaction, and we already know every one of the treaties in question were broken by them. They themselves admitted they were criminals. So no treaty can be but between two warring parties. That's the definition of a treaty. And the treaty, once abrogated, violated, or broken, nothing falling under that is lawful or legitimate. That's my point. That's what my argument is. None of this is lawful, and let alone legitimate. So everything that they've been operating under is ill-gotten gains and illegal.
okay. So I understand what you're saying. I just want questions answered. The only people that can make a treaty with a government is an Indian chief. That's how land is sold. So this is why you see this is Tennessee. This is why you see the green area. That's treaty land. That's land that they sold to either the government or the settler. All right.
Let's even say that that's true,
And
Prima.
but
How in the world
okay.
the rest of that
Uh
area is
well, we have
sold?
to look up we can look up the 1770 Treaty of Lockbar.
Hmm.
This is Tennessee. And all the oranges, the Indian land, this is all Cherokee land. You see Memphis, Nashville, all up in there. And it's
But you're
so
saying the
called,
green small portion is what was sold, right?
this is what was sold. But I have other parts to this very same map where the Indian land that was left in Tennessee ended up being little like the green by the time they finished selling it. We're talking 1770. This is prior to um, the Revolutionary War. So if the chief is selling this land, then he's probably selling it to Britain
Or
because
is it
we're
to a
not even.
dirty Moor? Because if
I
you listen to A1, he says all Europeans are Moors, right?
oh, I don't know.
So is this being sold to anyone, I don't care who that person is, by a renegade chief without the authority of the entire tribe or the nation? And
Well,
again, even
the
the
chief,
portion
the
that you're
Hey,
chief,
what
talking
about
about.
them cities in there? Are y'all saying that we didn't have all them cities like Chattanooga and Nashville and Asheville and all them
all,
other cities
all
that's inside of
where everything in orange, all of it is the Indian land, except the little piece in the green where they sold. See, at the bottom where it says treaty land, it's telling you treaty land. It was only that little green spot that was either sold to the British government. It had to be at this point the British government because this is in 1770. It was a Treaty of Lockbar. I have not looked up the Treaty of Lockbar yet, but
Yeah, what city
Um,
of that's all I'm asking. What city was that treaty signed in?
I got to look up the treaty, sweetheart. If somebody want to look that up, but
Because that'll tell
the
But I
about like
think you get the point that I'm making, though, Queen Mother. No matter what the treaty circumstance is, the rest of the orange area that we're seeing on a map, which you already know, and Root keeps going on it, these are imaginary lines that are drawn. So they do not give boundaries of what the actual land was or where the Indian territory was. How is it that we are rationalizing either A, they stole the rest of the orange area, or no matter what treaties were done, they themselves said they didn't honor them? That is unlawful under international law, and it is illegal and fraudulent, and all that operates under it is criminal. So
okay.
whether or not you're quarreling with me about that, I'm just saying that
I'm
I'm
not
suggesting.
quarreling with you about it, but we did have treaty relationships with not only the British, but we also had treaty relationships with the
The
so-called
Spaniards, the
United
French, the
States, right?
Dutch. Yeah.
And a lot of the treaties were broken, but here the Treaty of Lochaber was signed in South Carolina on October 18th, 1770 by British, just what I thought, Representative John Stewart and the Cherokee people, fixing the boundary for the western limit of the colonial frontier settlements of Virginia and North Carolina. Now, it must be something in here about Tennessee. Okay, here we go. Based on the terms of the accord, the Cherokee relinquished all claims to land from the previous North Carolina and Virginia border to a .6 mile east of Long Island of the Holston River in present day Kingsport, Tennessee, to the mouth of Kanawha River, present day West Virginia,
Now,
and Matthew.
notice there, you see there the 36-degree, 30-minute parallel
Yes,
in the next sentence.
yes.
That's what would become, quote unquote, the Mason Dixon line in all
Okay,
treaties, in all government documents. That's
okay,
what divided North from South. 36 degrees, 30-minute parallel. So the northern border of what you showed on the map there of Tennessee is the Mason Dixon line, is what I'm only pointing out.
okay. Um, so wow, and 6 years later, we had a
A
they had a
Revolutionary War.
war, the Revolutionary War. So I guess,
nobody on both sides was allowed
yeah.
to enter Tennessee and Kentucky neither. That was like sacred land to people Aboriginal. Like that did not belong to the Masons or the Dixie. They said, "Look, leave that motherfucker alone." With autographs.
So I guess what I'm asking here is because 7 years later, now the British brought up all these wars. I mean, they had the Revolutionary War,
Hey, Sister
and
Beth, I ain't trying to be
huh?
funny to y'all, man. Y'all know British is it's a half an island, man. It's impossible for them to come a half an island like 1/4 the size of Tennessee to come and beat Tennessee. It's just we got to really understand them stories. Like Lightweight might be a little fabricated. Like when you said that document that my brother we might have to look into that to see if it's all the way accurate. We might got to look into this and see if it's all the way accurate though, because these places wasn't even around. Like in 1770, Tennessee wasn't even around. It wasn't even a state. America wasn't even a country. But I digress, man.
Okay, that threw me off a little bit,
But you're
but
saying leading into the Revolutionary War, did
okay,
we eject them? I
well,
thought that's where we were. So did we eject them?
okay,
Is that what you're asking?
all right. Here's Tennessee. We look when Tennessee was established as a state. I pulled that up already. Let's see. Hang on. I thought it was in. Let me see. Hang on, because this is really.
But it can't be established as a state until after the Constitution, and it
That's
wasn't one
why
of the 13 colonies.
I know that because this is the shit that's throwing me off.
And it was a long time before they reached the other side of them Appalachians. They ain't just come over here and just walk the other side of them Appalachians. But I digress.
All right, let's see. Here we go right here. Um, I always look at this shit. Ha!
You got your statehood checklist you looking at?
Yep, you better believe it. Let me do a share screen.
But what I'm concerned about is with any of these treaties, how many Indian nations were in this actual geographic area? And the treaty is only with one nation, right?
Wait a minute. I'm looking for Tennessee. I don't care about shit else. Right now, hold up, y'all.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Right there.
Sad.
Number 16. Stop where you scroll by it.
Wait a fucking minute.
Number 16. Number
Oh.
16. Right there.
How the fuck are they? Okay, Southwest Territory, Tennessee, was admitted in 1796. So, if that's the case, how is it? Where's that little thing at? Oh, all right, 17. We said Tennessee is in 1796. So now let's
And
do
the
this
treaty
shit.
was 1770, right? But you said that particular.
How are they selling Tennessee and it wasn't a state yet? Like we were said, because they said they got a treaty of 1770,
right?
But they didn't become a fucking state until
26 years later.
That
they don't
doesn't
want the
make any
Indians to know
fucking
that they had
sense.
all these cities over here. They don't want the Indians to know they had all these cities over here, so they take the Indian cities away and put these imaginary lines there. But out of
This don't make no sense, y'all. This is why I be watching this shit. It wasn't a state yet.
You know, it's always difficult to keep the timeline in
The United
context.
States didn't even come until it was
after
still the
Georgia
13
ratified,
colonies.
right?
This
Not
don't
until
make no sense.
1790. That's what my point is about citizenship as well, Queen Mother. Until Georgia ratifies the Constitution as the 13th colony, there are no United States.
Right. How are you going to sell a state that didn't exist yet? It's mind-boggling.
This is the point that Chief Holiday makes about writing themselves backwards into time.
And the next thing I want to know is if Tennessee, okay, 6 years later they have the Revolutionary War.
The Revolutionary War, yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So if they have the Revolutionary War, obviously they're going to claim the lands that the British formerly owned, right?
How are they going to claim it while warring? It took 11 years before the war was over.
Right. But I'm saying the Revolutionary War?
Yeah. See, 17. Okay. See, we have to keep all these things in context.
Hold up.
1787
Wait a minute.
is
Let me
when
get
you're
my
getting the
shit up.
Constitution organized. You have the Northwest Territory and the Northwest Ordinance. And the same year, you have Sierra Leone, 1787. So during that 10-year period, there's war going on. No business, no government being conducted.
Okay. It took 8 years for that war. And they're saying that the Indians that they British purchased that little piece of land in Tennessee, but it wasn't no state established. It wasn't no state. It was a Confederate area. So how are you getting that land from Tennessee? And Tennessee didn't
Doesn't
exist.
exist. That's why I keep it. Now, whether we talk, is it Tanasi? Is Bap still here?
Tanasi.
All right.
Bap.
So the tribe is Tanasi, one of the tribal.
I think, isn't that an Indian name, right?
Yeah. Bap still with us? Because, that's his backyard.
Bat. Oh, he must have stepped away. This shit don't make no sense.
So when we're saying Tennessee, that's Tanasi. When we're saying Chattanooga, that's Chattanooga, right? But even so, these are
I like
things that
that,
are
Ali Bamu. I like that.
even so, Root, when you go and look these things up, you would look at a timeline when these things were
Sonia Clark
founded.
said black Europeans were never there.
We kind of keep going back and forth here, though. Again, the land don't move, the people move on it. Okay. So we're talking about a territory that Tanasis as a tribal nation may have been a member of, whether Creek, Chickasaw, Choctaw. These are contemporary names because Muskogee is Creek, but Muskogee is a confederacy. You know, Choctaw is a nation, not Choctaw, the contemporary translation of Choctaw. You see what I'm saying, Queen Mother? But none of this is being laid out while all this other stuff that's stamped on it is English, French, Spanish, Dutch. You see what I'm saying? We don't have the record of their side of the story. You see what I mean? Would you agree? And most of
No,
us
we
would have to
no, we
bring it
don't.
down through
We
oral
don't have,
tradition.
I don't see no bill of sales. You know,
I don't either.
I spoke to a real estate lady, very nice lady, and she says, Bethy, back then, it wasn't no bill of sales, it was a handshake.
So that's oral tradition, right? Word is bond, right? Word is bond, right?
She said it was handshakes
And
back
what did
then.
our ancestors, this came down to us, ancestors say about the white man speaks with forked tongue. So his word was not bond when they first encountered them, correct? And even the treaties, they themselves admit they broke every one. So what are we supposed to actually believe and follow?
That the Choctaw
So
or
it
the
could be,
Choctaw was dealing with the Chattanooga and all other cities. That's called the Southwest Territory. They had a capital around there, Chattanooga, and a couple other cities. Yes, and my opinion of it makes it more understanding. But maybe that's just
they
my opinion. I digress, though.
I don't think they purchased that fucking land. I really don't.
And that's what
I
I
don't think
mean
that there
about
was
it's
ever a
criminal.
purchase of Tennessee.
I get hello. That's my point, Queen
He been
Mother.
saying that. I gotta agree with this brother. He been saying
That's
that.
why I keep my little timelines. But I never said they didn't purchase it. But I said the only people that can sell the land is the chief. So
I'm not disagreeing with the notion of that. I'm saying to you, even if it were so, it's a dirty Moor, a Negropean, and a renegade American. All criminals. Maybe I'm not making myself clear.
no, you are. This shit is mind-boggling. That's why I keep my timelines. I'm like, how did such transaction take place in
You
the
know,
middle
by
of a
asking the
fucking
question, Queen, it didn't.
literally smack in the middle of a
Of a
war?
war, right? You know, it didn't. You know, the fact that you're asking the question answers itself. It didn't happen.
And
As I keep asking
how
about
the
the
fuck are you making
Naturalization
it?
Act,
How are you making a treaty in the middle of a war?
until the war is over, right? They call it cessation of hostilities. A treaty is after war has ended, correct?
Oh
And if you
my
don't
goodness.
honor the treaty, sounds to me like the war hasn't ended.
Well, perhaps the fucking war wasn't with Britain. It was with us.
What?
Because why are they
What? And
fighting?
then they got called. What? The war was us on us, and they got called the squattulator crackers. What? That sounds what?
I don't. Because what would be the fucking fight with the British with 13 little pieces of land? They could just fucking take it. It wouldn't make no sense
And
to be
why
having
wouldn't
a
you believe
revolution.
that we could
It
absorb
wouldn't. All
them
right.
than the other way around?
Here's what I'm looking at, you guys. And this is just a quick look. The fucking so-called Revolutionary War is with a few black dudes fighting Indians here. Let's say this is the way I'm looking at this fucking revolutionary now. Just by looking at that treaty, the way I'm looking at the Revolutionary War now is um Biggie. Who's all from the West Coast? Who's the rappers from the West Coast?
Tupac on the west side and Biggie on
Who
the
else?
east. So, well, you got NWA, Ice T,
Ice Cube,
right?
Okay.
Ice
All
Cube,
right.
yeah.
Them against the
Kendrick
fucking.
Lamar.
All right. Them against uh
Jay
the
Z,
the
Bad
dudes up here in
Boys,
the East.
Biggie, yeah.
That's the way I'm looking at the Revolutionary War because they didn't have the colonizers didn't have that much land. Just like that little piece of land you seen on the Tennessee map is about what each of those colonies was about size. So I'm looking at Biggie Smart East Coast fighting the West Coast over rap songs, and they lost the
So,
war.
Now, Sister Bethy, you know what
Huh?
World War Zero was?
Mm-mm.
It was called the French and Indian
Oh, French.
War.
Yeah, I know that.
And George
Sister
Washington,
Betty,
at 21, triggered
Huh.
that war conflict in his incompetence with American Indians, if you want to use that, on the French and British sides.
Right. Hmm.
so Sister Betty, I was gonna say real quick, like the Revolutionary War wasn't about like the land; it was about the people paying taxes. So they wanted their subjects to pay. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't about how much land they had; it was about how many people was over there and
Well, yeah,
how much money.
but it seems like to me not a coincidence that it's a few niggas from England fighting with the niggas in England saying, "Motherfuckers, we ain't paying y'all motherfuckers no taxes." That's what that seems like to me,
Yeah, that they used the
Or can you say
taxes
the Moors
to
that came home?
instigate the war. It
huh?
was an instigation tactic.
Or you can say it might have been the people
What?
came to a land that they thought was their home, and they landed up north and they got in a fight with their so-called brothers of down south and shit. So I mean, your story is making sense if we put some names to it. Like, oh, yeah, they just came back over here and they had a king way of thinking and try to tax their brothers, and their brothers wasn't going for it. And there was some other people that was rooting for the Northerners. And shit, man, and the Southerners ain't had nothing coming, but they fought hard. You know what I'm saying? And after that shit, they killed the Northerners off and shit, started saying the shit was theirs. So I gotta agree with Sister Bethy that it was us, us at war, and some people that look like us. If she gonna say it like that, fine. But I
Because I can't see it really at this point from no other way.
So Sister Betty,
no other way,
you can't see these
no
world
other
wars
way
again,
could
right?
they come over here and do that unless it was somebody
Yeah.
like us or us. No other way. I so much agree.
So
You say
Sister
not a
Betty, have you ever heard of like the Black Loyalists or like Evacuation Day, 1783?
Oh, wait a minute.
These are turncoat niggas he's talking about, whether you call them Tories, whether you call them sellouts, whether you call them pan boo boos. They are loyal to other motherfuckers foreign to this land. And I believe Chief Holiday has told us it's not history, it's not his story, it's his Tories.
So why was they loyal to the British, Alabama? Why did they
Why
History.
choose
are
the?
you? Why are
It
you?
even says
Why
in
are you
history.
not a coincidence? Why are you loyal to
I
them?
can't talk.
Not a
That's why I
coincidence.
tried to talk to
It looked
Sister
like
Betty.
to me. It sounded like not a. You know what this really sound like to me? A drug deal that gone bad. If you really look at it, like they was producing some good crack from Europe, And niggas down here said, man, we ain't paying y'all shit. And then we
I
fought
mean,
the
it
I
was bad then,
mean,
but I don't see
No,
how.
but
Like, I'm
see,
just trying to figure
the
out
point that he keeps
exactly.
arguing is about the Stamp Act and what was referred to as the Boston Tea Party, Queen Mother. Now, that's on your doorstep.
and even that was
Now,
a few people, right?
and did
I
they
mean,
not
those
dress
are
up in blackface? Did they not dress up in blackface?
Yes, it was
Trying
it
to
was
Yeah,
an
they
take
did.
candy.
instigate. It was
Yeah,
an
they
Hey,
white
did.
instigating
y'all, now
people.
let's
Okay,
get
tactic.
to the
look,
stories of the
it's white
Indians.
people
Let's get to
dressed
the
up in
story of the
blackface.
Indians.
So who's
Let's
fighting
get to the
now? White
story of
people.
the Indians that was going to war
White
with
people.
other Indians in the West. And then after that war, they had to come back to their cities. And then when they came back to the cities, the white man surrounded them and said, lay down your guns. And then the ones that didn't, they
So, Sister
killed them.
Betsy,
So that's
did
a
you
drug
understand
deal
what the
gone
Tea
bad.
Party?
That's a drug deal
Did you
gone
understand?
bad. That's the same thing that happened on the East Coast. Is a whole bunch of Moorish Indians went against the Indian code. And after they went against that shit and won, the motherfuckers surrounded them and made bow the
They
fuck
can never
down.
stay on topic.
I'd agree.
They can never stay on topic. So,
Okay, but
Sister Betsy,
there, huh?
now I was gonna say, you see how they brought up the Boston Tea Party, right? And these white people wore blackface. So that tells you there's white people fighting. There's white people here.
That does not tell you they were white
So
because they
black
put
people wore blackface.
war paint on their face. Why is
No,
it you always jocking the
they
white
dressed
man,
up.
Steve?
Look, he wants
Now
to
that's the
Actually,
he
shit.
a
wants to
Don't
lot
get
take
of
away
mad.
from
people
Why
y'all
is
do.
it
story.
you
Don't get mad
always
at
Sister
me.
Becky,
jocking
they
the
put
white
on
man,
Don't
blackface
Steve?
and
get
dressed up
mad.
like Indians. They put
Don't
on
get
they put
mad.
on
That
white
was a
face and
good
dressed up like
point.
Indians.
Why is it you always jocking the white
Ali
man's
Bama, man,
gift?
that was a great ass
It's
Why
point
are
you
you
just
always trying to
made. Don't
blame
get
the black
mad, man.
man? No,
Deal with it.
he's
Oh
just
my
blaming the
God.
black man. He's just
Man, that
blaming the
was
black
war
man. That's
paint, my
what he
nigga.
wants to do.
Can
It
you
wasn't no
prove that
war
that was
paint.
not war
He
paint?
dressed up like
Can you
Indians
prove
because
that that was not war paint, not a C?
all stories, listen, all stories say they dressed up like Indians. So now y'all want to say they wasn't dressing up like Indians with blackface? Y'all want to
What?
change that part of y'all story?
Well, if they doing that, if they did that back then, um, and they were white, let's say they were white, and they did that shit back then, they still doing that shit today, putting on them little black faces and running our hoods, shooting up people, and they thinking the other
No, that's
side.
there's a story to that, and I'm agreeing with you, Sister Bethy, that some people came over here. I'm just saying I think they came home or they thought they came home and they start putting on war motherfucking material, and then the Europeans blended in with they war material
Listen,
like
they
Alibaba.
trying to make
I'm
it.
gonna land my plane real quick. I gotta agree the story y'all saying that these people blended in war shit. Can you rebut that? Not a C?
Yeah, because no story says that. He made that up. Just like he made up that article trying to pass it off as the primary document. Right? So that's how.
Shit,
The
you know,
story doesn't say
I'll
that.
come over there to your channel and smoke with you, bro.
The story don't say that. That's why. Right?
No, I'm glad. See,
They
one thing I
blackface
honor about
because
Sister
they was
Bethy,
white.
one thing I gotta say now,
Sister
now we
Betsy.
gonna have to look at you though, because see, when we brought up Sister Bethy, she said, "Well, let me look at my document," and she said, "Well, I'm gonna have to look at my document too." Now, the shit you bring up about slavery and all of us being from there, we gonna have to look at them documents too and see if you honest.
Nobody's even talking about slavery.
Please do that, Root. Please do
We're
that.
talking
Now,
about the Revolutionary
Sister
War and
Bethy,
things that led
what
into
is the narrative, Sister Bethy? What is the
Huh?
narrative of Crispus Attucks and what is his actual story? Crispus Attucks, the alleged first martyr of the Revolutionary War. What is his narrative and what is his actual story?
Oh
And I'm
God.
not sure whether it was Narragansett or Wampanoag, but what is
Is
Crispus
this the one that
Attucks'?
said the redcoats are coming? I
No,
wait a
that's
minute,
Paul
wait.
Revere.
No, that's
No,
Paul Revere.
I'm saying the first death of the Revolutionary War in the Boston
Oh, the
Massacre.
black guy that
That's
jumped in front. Yeah.
and what's his real story?
So, Sister Bethany, did he jump in front of another black person or did he jump in front of another white person?
Now
This is
go
what we're
ahead.
trying to get into. We really don't care if he was Indian or not. That's not the point.
You keep
Alabama can't
saying
stay
about you
focused.
keep
We
saying
want to
about
know
how
if
you
it was
don't care.
all black people or if these
We
white people was
gather
here.
you don't care
Sister
about
Bethany, why
nothing
he can't stay on
but
topic? That is
white
what I want to
men.
know.
We
No, go
clearly
away.
understand
Wait,
you
wait,
gather
wait, wait.
care about
Wait,
nothing
wait,
but
wait,
the
wait.
white man.
Wait, Alibaba. Wait. That was funny. He said he jumped in front of a black person or a white person. I don't know. I don't know, not a coincidence.
For real. Like, come on, that's what we're talking about though, right?
Yeah,
No, what we're
yeah,
talking
we
about,
no,
as
we
what
was
Queen
talking
Mother was
about that.
saying, we were
No, we was.
talking about who were the parties warring in the Revolutionary War, Queen Mother. I think that's where you were in your conversation.
That's the same thing I'm just talking about.
No,
Come on.
you're going down the white man's rabbit hole. So I'm going to
You
again
wanted to know if he
say,
jumped in
Queen
front of a
Mother,
So
white person.
look,
y- as far
so
as
if
the
we listen to
narrative that
Alabama, we
is
got
taught,
black people wearing blackface at the Boston Tea Party, right? And we got Christmas Adams
No,
held in front of
no,
another
now
a
see,
black man, right?
that was
So,
disrespectful. He said that black people was
I said
wearing what on
war
their face?
paint.
He
I did
said
say
No,
war
war
yeah,
paint.
paint.
there you go.
I did say
Yeah.
war paint, but I don't care about him trying to put words in my mouth. I asked a simple question, which he and others like him who are Pan Africans cannot answer since they are not Americans. So, again, Queen Mother, as I asked, what is the narrative of Crispus Attucks and what is his true story? Now, the narrative that people like to be told in propaganda and in curriculum that he was a freed slave or that he was a whaler that worked the docks, or that he was an amazing man that stirred up these rebels. Sounds like blame a nigga to me. I mean, I don't know. Which is it?
Maybe I'm siding with A1, but you can't tell American history without European history, man. It's one and the same. So with Sister Becky saying, man, there was some black folks in America and Europe, or there was some Indians in America
But Root,
and Europe, or
doesn't
some
anthro-
Moors. I'm almost
but
done. I'm gonna land my plane. Or some Moors in America and Europe, and the ones that came home started a lot of trouble in with Othello's children. They was Othello's children. They came home with their European counterpart and
now
started
you
some trouble with
use
the nation.
Othello. You use Othello. Does not
Yeah,
anthropology
because
and
they came with a whole
archaeology?
bunch of white baggage,
But
and they
my
didn't
brother
know that the white baggage was gonna cut them off and kill them at the end. But they did come with the
does
baggage.
not, and they were the slaves, I would argue, if they were white. But does not the anthropology and archaeological studies say it was a Negroid world? The Negroes are everywhere, correct?
I'm just glad we agreeing on something. Shit.
Is that so? I'm just saying. I'm not agreeing on shit. I repeat shit I heard. Y'all do hear me say that on occasion, do I not? The words
Yes,
coming out
you
of my
agree. We
mouth
all agreeing,
is
man.
repeating some shit I heard. Now, according to archaeology and anthropology, it's a Negro world, is it? Rude. And every time they
According to
go
them,
and
yes,
dig
you're right.
bones up and shit, why are they recreating Negroid representations? Hmm? Is that not what they're doing? If they're the
All right,
white
y'all.
man and white scholarship, why aren't they recreating white people?
Okay, so let me ask y'all this
Why
because
aren't they doing that, Queen Mother?
I'm winding things down. I don't know, but let's relax. Let's breathe. I'm getting
But it
ready to
sounds like
redirect.
nigger on
Hey,
nigger,
hey,
like
hey,
you
hey,
said
hey, hey,
earlier.
hey. Hey, I will redirect. Now I want to tell y'all why A1 be making me so mad before I let y'all go. Because I'm going to redirect you to BAP. He got a really good what's your name coming up. And I told y'all that A1 get on my nerve because he sound like my daughter father. Now listen. Hopefully he don't answer the phone, but listen. You're gonna think you're talking to A1. Watch this. I'm calling right now.
You've reached the Big Deacon Productions. There's no one here to take your call, but if you leave your name, your number, and a brief message, we'll get back to you as soon as possible. And remember, God is good, God is love, and God is here for you. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
Oh, Pastor Parker, you smell like doo-doo. But don't that sound like A1? Do that not sound like A1? That's why A1 be getting me mad. So I tell you, Pastor Parker, you smell like doo-doo. But anyway, y'all, I love y'all. Thanks for joining me today. Drake, I was laughing. Y'all gonna be in BAP in 2 seconds. I'm about to go over there right now too. Root Word's supposed to be on the panel doing something over there. So I love y'all.
Hey, I just want to say,
Hold it.
thanks for
Final.
having me up, man. I'm not gonna ever come up here